Projecting does work because it's a little bit quiet, because that mic's not really meant for this.
Who, me? Projecting?
Who would have possibly thought?
Who would have possibly thought?
Oh my god. Wait, well, am I gone? I'm going on.
Okay, in which case put the audio up.
Yep. Is it?
Oh, okay. All right.
It is up.
Welcome again. We don't normally do 2 streams in 2 days, but maybe this time we'll have a little bit better luck without competing with the football, which happened last night.
I mean, it's alright. There was only 22.8 million people watching the football or something.
They stole. Are you saying they stole every single one of my viewers?
You could have had those 22.8
I could
million viewers.
have had 22.8 million viewers.
It's not 22.8. Somebody will correct me, but it was a lot. Apparently, it was the most since like the last time they got through.
Well, it would be. I mean, that 22.8. That's half the population then.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was quite a lot of people.
I'm gonna have to look at how many it actually was. 23.86.
23.86. I don't actually think this is going because I'm not seeing anything on the video.
Concurrent viewers 1.
Seems wrong. I've got...
Hello, viewer.
Hello, viewer.
We outnumber you. Do our bidding.
Why is... that's why. It conveniently loaded me up yesterday's stream, not today's. Well,
convenient.
There we go.
So we are live.
So yes, we are live, and we have
good.
2 people currently, which is a bit lower. We had 5 at the start yesterday, and a few people
As opposed
watching...
to 23.86 million.
As opposed to 23.86 million, yeah, that's disappointing.
What
frankly.
exactly is the PedalBox equivalent of shining a green laser at the opposition goalie?
Oh, I don't know. We'd have to have like working electrics for that.
You've got working electrics, or some of them.
In the Golf. Thunderbird is untested.
Yeah.
Kit car. I've done more stuff on the electrics today. That was miserable. Just tearing apart the whole wiring loom into the engine bay and making that a lot neater. So I'm covered in like goo, basically, from the inside of all of the cables. From 20 years worth of driving. Well, I guess not 20 years, is it? Probably 18 years worth of driving around before it got
how many
parked
years
up.
of
And 2
static?
years of sitting on the drive in the weather and in the garage with all of the dust and everything else, which, yeah, not great.
Oh well.
Not great. But it is at least moving on, and I've got some more of the boring, dull jobs out the way. And no, I haven't recorded them to put them into an episode. I'm not going to subject you to me sitting there going... unwrapping cable continually, because I get bored enough of that. I'm not watching it a second time.
I mean, it could be a new demographic for you. Couldn't it?
Yes, yeah, exactly. So, if you hadn't already realised, this is not Chris. This is James, and James owns the 944 that we've had on the channel, which, frustratingly, is currently the top viewed video on our channel by at least 2,000 views.
Oh yes.
We got just about 5,700 views on the video when we put the exhaust on. We did have a very nice flyby at the end.
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
fair. It was,
yeah.
it
It's
was
got
pretty good.
like live action shots.
Yeah.
Special effects and everything.
Yeah, precisely. But we also have, after that, the Rover, which on just under 4,000, and some way down, the first episode of PedalBox has 2,200 views, which is great. Like, you'd expect something that's been around for 3.5 years to have the most number of views, but by the same token, it's also a really boring episode of us just sat in the car, and then it's just a sort of a shot of the chassis at the end, which... You know, you'd expect the second one, maybe the third one, to actually be the popular ones. But no! No, it is not.
That's right, you can go back later and do a prequel.
Yeah, Star Wars.
reshoot
Yeah,
it. Just reshoot it.
We'll
It'll
just reshoot it. We'll make another one up, and yeah, we'll just video it all the way home.
Or just release a director's cut.
Just, I think, to be fair, I think I've deleted all of the extraneous video from that episode because I was running low on space. So I had to get rid of stuff. So PedalBox at the moment takes up about 1.2, 1.3 terabytes, which was a problem at the time because I only had the one NAS, which was 12, I think, but I had so much other stuff that had built up from other work projects on that, yeah, I had to thin down a massive bunch of stuff. And then I bought another NAS, which was obviously the most sensible way to do it. So now there is a pedal NAS. And there is all of my other work, everything I've ever done is on the other one, and that is literally just PedalBox because I have a lot of plans to film things and basically haven't been able to for 18 months because COVID. But never mind, it is just about getting there. So today we're going to go over, hopefully when we get a few more viewers in, some of the Thunderbird parts that we went through for the first time yesterday. We're also going to have a look at the new the new Lotus, because you had an Exige. It's just a Lotus Exige. Have a look at the new configurator for...
Yeah, we'll have a bit of a play.
I've forgotten what it's called now.
The Emira.
Emira, that's the one. I don't know if anybody else watched it. I was working on the car at the time, so I definitely didn't watch it. But it is very, very pretty. I've had the briefest of, although I haven't actually looked at any of the specs or anything else. Yeah. But it is extremely pretty to look at. It does look like a sort of slightly bigger Evora, I guess.
It is bigger than the Evora. It's bigger than most
sort of is, I suppose. I'm just going to
Lotuses.
see if I can remember which one I need to put this on. Yes, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah. So it is. Oh, why is that flickering so badly? I'm going to have to change that.
This is at 48 hertz.
No, that was doing it yesterday as well. I thought I'd changed it, which is a little bit annoying.
Do you want to go to Pip?
Yeah, you might as well. So yeah, so the Emira looks very, very good, and I have to say, I already like that blue.
Yeah, well, I mean, it might as well be Laguna Seca, right?
No, I think
blue,
it's a bit darker than the Laguna Seca, but I mean, grab a
maybe.
I mean, Laguna.
I mean, you can't
Laguna
tell
Seca-
because that's an artificial photograph anyway.
Well, yeah, I suppose it's not the easiest one to actually look at on a screen, and I mean it's dark on the side, but it's still pretty bright up front. It's definitely light. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's quite Laguna Seca light. Yeah, I'd completely forgotten that Goodwood Festival of Speed was actually on, but it makes sense that they would launch it there as well.
Yeah, well, they're the main marquee brand or whatever you call it for Goodwood this year.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if they've got that launching, I mean, what is it? Is it the V6 again out of the Evora, or is it?
So you've got two powertrain options. You've got an inline four, which is the Mercedes unit. Okay. Everybody was surprised when it was a Mercedes because, of course, Geely owned Volvo, and everybody was thinking it was going to be a Volvo unit. Yeah. But it is in fact the Mercedes unit. And then they've got the original Toyota V6, which is the one that was in the
Camry, among other things.
Okay, yes, it was originally a Camry engine, which means that it's good for about 200,000 miles.
Yeah, it is, to be
fair.
And
it's like super torquey, and it's designed to pull a car that weighs a lot more than this.
Yeah.
So they got one of those. So you got two kind of price options. I think I'm going from memory here. I could look this up, but they've been.
Let's test you. Let's go from memory, and then we can check.
All I've been doing is consuming the same kind of content that everybody else has since this was released. You've got the V6 is supposed to be coming out at I think £60,000 or £65,000.
It's not terrible.
It's not terrible. It's gunning for the 718 because it's a two-seater.
Yeah.
Rear mid-engines.
Yeah. Very much like the Boxster is.
Yeah, it's going to absolutely wipe the floor with the 718.
I mean, I would have thought the Evora was more 718 competitor, and this was up a notch into knocking on the 99.
This has always been the problem.
The 99.2 they're up to still at the moment.
992.576,
I think it's
whatever it is. The problem with the Evora has always been that when it was released, it was relatively cheap. It was always planned to be the top of the Lotus range.
Yeah.
It was designed to have a 2+0 and a 2+2 option. And it was pitched pretty much between where the Cayman was then and where the 911 was then. And in theory, it could trade blows with both of them. Yeah. Because it was cheap enough for potential Cayman buyers to be thinking about it. Yeah. But if you spec'd it up and if you went 2+2, in theory, the 911 buyer who's got the two small kids that with the unfortunate leg amputations that mean that they actually fit in the back of a coupe.
Yeah.
In theory, it
leg
could appeal to
embectomy at age 6 for the.
Also a little bit off the top.
Yeah.
Because obviously
to be fair,
that beautiful sloping line means.
I have done a trip, not all the way out to Germany in the back of a 911, but I have done one for about 45 minutes in the back of a 911.
That's not a pretty picture.
No, it was a 996.
This is not a small man.
No, at 6'4", I occupied at least 1 and a bit seats because I was kind of over a bit like this.
Yeah.
And Ben's missus at the time was all the way up against the dashboard. Fortunately, she was quite short. So I actually had leg room and I didn't have to have the amputation. But yeah, it was snug to say the least. It was still good fun, but don't get me wrong. No. That's small kids or luggage. That's it. Nothing more.
Like I can remember when I had the GT4s and the E46 M3, you would occasionally have to do 4-up in both of those, and just doing 4-up in a coupe with adults.
Yeah.
Is never fun.
We did 4-up in the M3 all the way to the ring and back for a weekend. Went out Friday. We were there Friday night, Saturday night. We came back Sunday. It was February, so we were just scouting for some plans that we had at the time to try and organise trips out there properly. And yeah, it wasn't horrendous by any shape. It certainly wasn't as bad as the Porsche was. Yeah. Like, it was livable.
Well, this is the thing. The E46 has actually got a roof.
It's
a 3-box shape,
yeah.
Whereas the 911 is basically just...
It's a teardrop. Yeah, there's just nothing on the back. It drops down.
Was horrible to be in the back of.
Technical term for that is...
Yeah. The TT, when we still had the TT as a TT and not kind of bits of a track car, or bits for that matter, actually, yeah, fair point. We had it to the Nürburgring, and I can't remember... You must have been in the back. Yolanda was in the back at one point, briefly. I think not when we were on track. It was only.
I didn't do the trip with the TT.
Oh no, you didn't do that.
But I
one.
did it back. I did the whole length of Berkshire in the back of the TT.
Yes, that was it. So we had it there, and there is a warning sticker when you have the boot open that if you're sat in the back seat and you're tall like me, your head comes above the seat pillars, and there is a warning so that when you're putting the boot lid down, you don't just brain somebody and smash the the rear screen, or both. One or other, or both is absolutely possible. And yeah, you could slam it down, and you can give someone a really bad head and neck injury like that if the glass doesn't give way. So yeah, the TT was probably the worst because I can sit up in the 911 with the seat forward, and like my head is touching the roof, but there is not an imminent injury about to happen if I just don't move at any given time. It's probably still a similar kind of height, but I can push my head into the top. But yeah, the TT was the worst one for rear seat space. How that was ever classified as a 2+2, I just don't know. That was hazardous. But yes,
I mean, the 944 in theory has rear seats.
Yes, it suffers from the same problem.
Yeah, there's about maybe that much between the back of the driver's seat and the rear seat.
In theory.
Well, it has seats. Yeah,
I mean, it has 4 seats.
It has 4 seats.
Seat belts and MOT.
Yeah, it's listed. It's listed as a
V5.
4-seater for the V5 and everything else. It has 4 seats. The fact that only 2 of them are really usable by anybody over 5'6".
But it does, because it's got.
You have to have all 4 people under 5'6" as well. That's not like you can have just 5'6" people in the back and me in the front. No. That's not how this works.
Matt has the little ones though in the back of the punish stone, but I think that's to do with.
Yes, but that's also got a cage.
Yeah,
so he's got like the cage in there, and there's still plenty of space for people to sit. Like the Mustang, the original sort of 65, 66 coupe Mustang, all the way through, and the fastback as well. That is a 4 adult seater car.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It was designed to fit 4 people in, even though it's just a pony car and it's not like the big limousines like the Thunderbird or anything like that. It still fit 4 people. That's what was wild.
I mean, this is why there's so much market for things like the A5 and the BMW.
The A5 does. The A5 fits
the 6 Series GT. Is that the one with the even bigger stretched back?
The
6 Series.
The GTs. So the BMW GTs are hatchbacks, so they don't have as much boot out the back, and they have a little bit more.
Instead of having an inflection.
Yeah.
And Hofmeister kink and all that business, and then a flat boot lid, they've just kind of popped it outwards.
Not as much as you might think.
Headroom.
It's a little bit more headroom, but it's not as much. They've shortened it. It just they've never really managed to do a good hatchback.
It's not a good look.
And as you say, like the 4 Series comes in a 4-door,
Yes.
And the 6 Series comes in a 4-door.
Does it now?
Yeah, the 6 Series comes in a 4-door. Both coupes you can get as 4-door coupes, which is a ridiculous phrase. Same for the A5 as well. Also comes in a 4-door. It's just like, what? Why? You compromise so much stuff by having a coupe. If you want it 4 doors, you're still, anybody that's going in the back is going to be screwed because of the slopey roof at the back anyway. But even like the X4 and the X6, just hugely pointless vehicles as it stands.
Yes.
They're exactly the same. You know, you've still compromised on rear headroom. Although you can sit in them when you're kind of my height still and not get brained. Still not TT bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
the thrilling tale of rear seats.
And how I haven't yet had a neck compression out of anything that I've sat in yet. I have had a bad neck, to be fair. Oh yeah, Yolanda's just said the Evoque convertible. What
things that should not exist.
What a hot mess it is. Actually, do you know, with the top down, it actually doesn't look terrible. However, with the top up, it looks awful. As a concept, it's a terrible idea. It's never meant to be seen with the roof up, and it doesn't. As I say, it doesn't look awful, but I just don't get it. Well, no, I do, because people want an SUV, but they also want a convertible, and these things should never mix.
We were talking about 2 plus noughts, 2 plus 2s, and because the Evora started out as this weird thing that was supposed to sit somewhere between the Cayman and somewhere between the 911.
Yeah.
It was the top of the Lotus range. It was the car that was significantly more grown up. It was supposed to be what you graduated from your Elise or your Exige into once you could no longer pretzel yourself into the driver's seat.
Once you're not an Elise or an Exige, definitely a young man's game.
Yeah, a little bit.
I've still got a photograph somewhere from when you had yours of you with both hands out the side of the car.
Yeah, there's also.
I remember Silverstone when we went there having to fold myself in. Over the sill and underneath the dashboard, and I seem to recall it had a cup holder, but the cup holder was also evil.
Cup holder was just
sharp edges,
cut aluminium.
Yeah.
Now I've also got a photo somewhere of you sat in a natural position in the passenger seat with the roof off.
Yes.
With the roof off, because I did have an Exige, but the Exige still you can still pull the roof off of them.
Yeah.
And you were sat naturally, as opposed to in your normal. I'm in a Lotus. I'm just going to make myself as small as I possibly can. Yeah. So you just spread out a little bit.
Yeah. You just sit
those little tufts there.
This. This.
They were just above the roll hoop. Yeah, basically. Yeah, on the outside of the car. Yeah. So the Evora was supposed to be bigger, more grown up. The thing with the Elises and the Exiges is that because they're bonded aluminium chassis, they are hugely strong, hugely strong. But a lot of that strength is carried through the floor plan and the sills.
Yes.
So the sill on an Elise is about yay wide.
Yeah.
It's
massive.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah. It's a good 8 inches.
Oh, it's more than that. It's probably more like 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I'd say so. By the time you've actually wrapped it in a bit of plastic, not the metal.
Yeah.
So you're hopping over that. You're hopping over that to get in. They made it better in the Evora because the Evora was never designed to have the roof removed.
Yes.
Which is why, despite everybody complaining for years and years and years, there was never a convertible.
Yeah.
Evora.
They couldn't.
Because they couldn't. Yeah. Because they'd made the sill smaller to make it easier to get in and out.
And they wanted actual practicality.
Yeah, and it's wider and
practicality.
It's plusher. The Evora started with some of the best seats in the world. It's got Recaro Club Sports, I think. They are so nice. So nice.
The Club Sports hug so nicely. It's just like
I don't know what it is, but they're magic.
I mean, this is a Recaro that came out of something, but we don't actually know what it is, and it's nice just being able to adjust it and like increase the level of hug around here. Adjustable hugs. Yeah.
So then the problem with the Evora was that through the years it got more expensive. It was released originally as the 3.5 litre out of the can.
Yes,
as a pretty cooking engine with some Lotus magic sprinkled on top of it.
3? Or was it high 200 horsepower? I thought it was 3 and change.
No, the original naturally aspirated was 276 bhp. it's pretty good on torque. I can't remember the torque value, but it was
Yeah.
pretty torquey because it's such a big engine.
Because the Exige was 280 and up. Like they did a lot of special editions, didn't
What,
they?
the
of
1.8
Exige?
supercharged one?
Yeah.
Started at 210, 212.
And yeah, but it cranked up
And
way
yeah, they did
beyond that. Yeah,
as they worked on it. They
Yeah.
went up to 240s and I think 260s and possibly 280s.
Yeah. Because why not?
Yeah. So then they stuck a supercharger on the 3.5, and they got it up to 345 bhp.
Yeah.
That's
what I.
yeah. That's most of them were like that. The NAs are kind of the early ones, and then obviously they did offer the two in parallel for a while, but
Everybody presumably
people, yeah.
picked the supercharger one.
despite the
because why
fact
not?
that the supercharger adds a lot of weight and it raises the centre of gravity,
Yeah.
and it does slightly like
Compromise
compromise
the handling a
the naturally aspirated, you know, revvy.
Yes,
response.
it doesn't. Yeah, it
So
doesn't.
some
it's not
people
quite as
do.
free.
Some people argue that a fettled NA is just as fast as an actual S, which is interesting.
Even for sort of, well, it's 25% more power, really, isn't it? At
Yeah, but you can
350ish.
This is what I mean. With a bit of
280-ish,
fettling,
yeah,
you can get the NA
get a
to
little bit
about
more.
300, 310.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's not
Because-
actually terrible.
Yeah.
So the Emira is coming
Right.
in.
So
at,
the Emira is the new car. It's the it's the successor to the Elise, the Exige, and the Evora. So
Yeah.
they've killed off all of the old models together. They're still doing the runouts, the final editions or whatever they're calling it of the Elise and the Exige. They can't do a final edition of the Evora because they've already knocked down the production line to build
the
this
Emira,
one.
right? Okay, yeah, fair enough.
So the Emira is a bigger, more modern, more grown-up car. It is very much gunning for the Porsches, and it is a different proposition to things we've seen previously.
Yeah.
The days of Lotuses being sub a ton are probably gone forever, unfortunately. This one is 14. I think it's about 1450. It's in the same ballpark as the Cayman. So it's bigger, it's heavier, it's more modern. It's got all of the bells and whistles at this point. And Geely, who own Lotus these days, have just thrown money at improving the things that Lotus have not, historically speaking, been good at, which is kind of interior fit and finish. It's got cup holders.
Oh my god.
Real ones.
Actual ones that aren't just
that will hold 500 milliliter bottles.
Oh god.
Yes. Yes. It has door bins.
It's
Door bins on a Lotus.
Oh god. Wow.
Yeah, I know. It's like so.
They have really grown
all
up,
over the
haven't they?
forums. There are tiny little minds popping everywhere because this has happened. And the comments basically go in order. Oh my god, it's gorgeous. Where can I sell my child so I can afford one? Then somebody saying I've already put down my deposit, etc. And then about one in every 5 will be it's too heavy, it's too big, the wheels are too big, it's not a real Lotus.
The wheels are very
Have
large.
I mentioned it's too heavy?
Yeah. Is it
so
20 standard or is it 19?
It's all 20s. Yeah, which is so they've put it on car specific rubber. So it's got there's 2 versions. You can spec it as touring or sport, and this is so. Oh god, on the Evora. In the later days of production of the Evora, they got up to the 410 GT Sport.
Yeah.
So there was the 430 GT, which was the like track special, highest power, limited edition. The kind of main run out of the Evora was the 410 GT Sport, and then they did the Evora 410 GT.
Yeah.
Because it's not at all confusing when you introduce a new model whose name is just the old car's name, less a bit. That's not confusing at all. So, the Evora 410 GT was basically the North American spec'd version brought back over here. In America, they spec'd it softer with more suspension travel.
Because Americans like their comfy rather
Because-
to be fair, a lot of their roads are concrete and they're concrete block.
Yeah.
Like the M25, if you go around the southwest portion of the M25 from sort of the M3 to
Gatwick back round to the M4.
sort of M4, M3 all the way around to the M20. No, not the M20.
Which way
It's not
are
the
you going?
M27. Round to Gatwick. I'm trying to think what it is.
In that direction.
Yeah.
It'd be M3 to M20.
I think it actually goes as far as the
M20 is Dover.
M20
Yeah.
is the M20 and the M2 at Dover.
Yeah, maybe it does.
So yeah, all the way around there, it's just horrible, loud concrete, which is just. It's ribbed.
For nobody's
for
pleasure.
nobody's play for traction purposes. Like I get it, that's fine. But in America, they make it out of blocks, so everything you go over, there's just they pour sections. It just goes kunk 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 kunk, which is why most of their cars, including the Thunderbird, is mostly sprung on treacle. It just seems like a it has to be
And it's
because
why
the
they all
roads are
love trucks.
so bad. Yeah, because the trucks are even higher. They have even more travel, and you might as well at that point.
Yeah. So, where was I? The 410 GT, which definitely isn't the 410 GT Sport,
Yes.
and also isn't
One sec, do you want to grab a
the
picture
earlier
of the
410, because they did. I think they did a 410 without any GT or Sport.
To try and grab a picture of the range of the previous ones, of the 410 and everything else. A Lotus history lesson.
Oh Jesus! Thing is, I'm probably not right. I'm doing all this off spec, and I haven't revised out of this. So I don't know. I am on the Lotus Cars website. You would think that they would still have something about it.
Oh, of course not.
But they might have already binned it. Oh, there we go.
Let's see. I'm going
Right,
to
so
go on
they're
to Lotus.
showing-
I'm
they're
going to go on the
showing
wiki
410.
and find this.
410 and 410 Sport as the remaining range. So the 410 was the kind of comfort version, and the 410 Sport is in theory the kind of more track focused version.
Yeah.
And it seems like they've carried that through into the Emira, and they're now offering a touring and a sport version.
It's not a
And
real
they run-
touring though.
they
It needs to be
run-
an estate.
Okay, so each of those two models runs a passive suspension setup. There's
Yeah.
no modes.
Okay.
The
so
touring-
it just is.
The touring is supposed to be tuned for B roads, for UK B roads,
Okay.
and the sport is tuned for track.
Yeah. The weird one, because
So-
obviously Nürburgring is actually going to be tuned for B roads.
Ye-
More so than track.
So it's
because
going to be
the
really
Nürburgring is
interesting.
so bad.
It's going to be really interesting to see how the press do with their test drives, because I think, well, certainly the view has been that the touring is a really good idea because it's much more what people are expecting. People have come out of a Porsche, they're going to walk into the Lotus, they're going to try the touring, and it will feel like a limousine, but it will still go around corners.
Yeah.
The sport one will be the sharper version, and then in due course there will, obviously, because Lotus love a special edition, so there
I
will,
don't know what you mean with the
there will be something
410,
something further.
280, 260, 240.
Yeah, of course. But the bit that's quite interesting is you mentioned that they've got nothing but 20-inch wheels, and that is big. It's deliberate.
Yeah.
It's designed to make the look of the Emira more similar to the Evija.
Mm-hmm.
The Evija being the £2-point-something million electric,
the all electric
2,000 brake horsepower hypercar.
Yes.
So they're trying
makes
to
sense.
build. They're trying to build a bit of DNA in the side profile look, and with the smaller wheels, you can't make it have that like junior supercar look. So they went to 20-inch wheels, and as a result of that, they've had to tune the rubber. So they've made it work, and they're promising that it's still got that kind of Lotus suspension magic. And I have to say, having driven a few Evoras, it is scary how good it is. I've never driven anything that goes down a B road the way a Lotus does. So they've gone with custom rubber, and it varies depending on which pack you've got, and you either get, I think it's Eagle F1 asymmetric on the touring, which is quite interesting, and then the sport version, I cannot remember. I think it's a Pirelli.
That's the Evija.
That's the Evija.
I do think the Emira's got a nicer line to it. It's not. I don't know. It looks quite sci-fi.
Yeah, the Evija is designed to be a bit kind of concept car-y, basically. So yeah, it's got to be that dramatic. But yeah, you can see, there's lines that draw through. The proportions are the same with the the low accentuated kind of glass canopy. Yeah. The cutouts from the
I do
bonnet.
like the cutouts in the back, like the GT40s with sort of pod style wheels. I really like that look.
So and yet obviously on the Evija, those tunnels actually go all the way through and out the back.
Yes.
On the Emira, you've got a shape that kind of reflects that,
Yeah.
but it's just an air intake. It's not a straight through tunnel. So yeah.
Yeah, if we switch back onto if we leave that up a second and then switch back onto the
Yeah, there it is.
So you can see you've got the hole is basically the same, although it's a little bit smaller because it is a different car. Doors are a thing. Practicality on the Emira, but yeah, there is. Now you say it, there is a lot more kind of brand identity between those two.
Yeah.
Even with the cutouts on the bonnet, they're very similar to one another. And the wheels, the big wheels, are quite a big factor.
It's
yeah,
makes a big difference. Makes a really big difference.
Surprising. I wonder how many people will put 19s on
to try and make
for track.
Maybe
just to try
I don't
and
know.
not.
I mean, it's got.
Have they released
enormous brakes?
Have they released what size rubber it is? Obviously 20-inch, but
No,
what
no,
widths?
I don't know. I don't know.
Because I can see. I mean, it's not supercar money. It's not a 6-figure car.
No.
But if you're going to need 6-figure type tyres on it to be able to enjoy it, that's a big old consumable cost that's in there. There was a thing on Jalopnik the other day. They were testing out a new Mustang, and the Mustang that they were testing 780 horsepower, and it had 305s on the front.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
305s front. That is horrendous. Well, no, it's amazing, but at the same time, that is a ridiculous amount of front end rubber. And I mean, when you consider that when the Veyron came out, which was what 2006, 7, 8, something like that, the widest tyres in the world, that was 365s, and that was the biggest tyre anybody made anywhere ever. The GT3, the Porsche GT3 RS, is 345s on the rear. So yeah, like 305s up front. That's a lot of rubber. That's big meat. Big meats.
That's tramlining territory, though.
Yes.
It must
100%.
steer like a bitch.
Yeah, it'll be horrendous going along the M4 in the slow lane. Why would you be in the slow lane unless you're not overtaking things? You're just gonna like surf your way along. Right. Shall we have a look through the configurator on the old?
Well,
Emira,
before we get
then?
to that, can we talk about this tagline?
What is not just another sports car, the other sports car?
So, how do you think it's supposed to be said? I've only ever seen it written. I've never I didn't actually listen to much of the release documentation. I've never heard it said. So, how do you think that should be said? It's quite simple. It's 2 statements. I'm not sure that second one is even a sentence.
The problem with it, it's the classic where you can actually emphasise
exactly
any word in that sentence,
and there will have been focus groups, and some clever bugger has come up with this. So I kind of hats off because it's a little bit clever.
It's open to interpretation.
How do you naturally say it? And you've already said it once, unfortunately, and I didn't listen. So how do you naturally say that?
Not just another sports car, the other sports car.
Right.
Which I think is it drops it. That's sort of almost putting it under the pedestal.
Yeah, this is the thing.
This
is the thing. I think naturally that's how I say it in my head as well.
Yeah.
I think the way that you are probably supposed to say it is actually not just another sports car, the other sports car. Right? Now the thing is that when you say it like that, it's, as you say, it's definitely putting itself under the pedestal by way of, it's not saying that, it's not like
it's not the new
which is the beer, like the beer advert that's like the best beer in the world.
Heineken.
Isn't
it Heineken?
What? I'm having a mental blank. There's definitely a beer advert that associates with like, we are the best beer, and I can't think what it is. Probably the best beer in the world.
Carlsberg. Yes,
yeah,
probably best beer in the world, probably the best beer in the world.
So there's that style of advertising of
like
putting yourself like we're just the best, full stop. We say it, right? So this is obviously targeting something else. It's the other sports car, as you said it. It's the other sports car.
Yeah.
So if this is the other sports car,
Yeah.
what's
are
the sports car?
Yeah.
Right? And there's an obvious answer to that.
911.
I
Well, that's one of the
I
obvious
think
ones.
Porsche generically, basically.
Well, yeah, I suppose,
because
yeah.
Lotus have always been in this position of being the underdog.
Yeah.
Like in every single group test,
Mhm.
I almost swore there. In every single group test ever,
Yeah.
you will always get the whole, oh, here comes the plucky British underdog.
Here they
he
come.
is in
Look at
British
what- I
Racing
wonder
Green.
what they're going to
Look
do
at him
this
bring
time.
his standard bag of amazing performance and wonderful handling and made in a shed in Norfolk.
Yeah.
So that's always been exactly where they've been.
Yeah.
They've always been in Porsche's shadow. They've never had the money. They've
No.
never been able to compete in the open market. The people they manage to sell cars to are the enthusiasts who seek them out.
It's always been like they do very well for what they've spent on R&D, and sort of like they've done very well for what they are.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
never
exactly. It's
been-
like, oh,
they've-
hasn't he done
Oh,
so well?
It's such,
Yeah.
it's so good.
And being
that he's
British,
come along, and
being British,
everybody-
like, we do play into that. We do love an underdog. You know?
Yes,
So,
yeah, definitely. You know, it's like you just want to toffle its hair and
no,
you've
little
come
Lotus.
along. Oh, look at you!
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
Isn't it nice that he's here?
I mean,
Bless.
they came out with the original Elise was the big thing.
yes.
That was 98, I want to say. I think shown to the public 96, first car's 98.
Yeah,
Somebody
I don't
will-
think it
again,
was.
somebody will probably correct me on that.
But yeah, possibly.
Like, and then-
96 to present.
Yeah,
Yeah, there we
96. So 96 was launch effectively, but I
96
guess they
was-
probably started delivering
So-
97, 8.
Like when it came out, it was groundbreaking, revolutionary. It did amazing things, and it was pretty much
It was the-
unbeatable. And it sold well.
They added lightness.
Yeah,
That was it. They
yeah.
took the classic British sports car idea
And they
that-
applied a new technology
Yeah.
of basically glued together bits of aluminium.
yeah, and a reliable engine.
That didn't come along until Toyota arrived.
Oh yeah, no, it was the later
Started
model.
off-
Had the, it,
start-
it had the K series. Yeah.
Started off needing a multi-pack of head gaskets.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Oh.
I'd like to buy
Oh, dear.
I'd like to buy a head gasket for my Lotus, please. Certainly, sir. How many?
How many would you like? Would you?
Well, I've got to
Just-
get home, so
it's-
let's call it 3.
It's just the one head gasket, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, when it came out, it was revolutionary. It did amazing things, and it was this massive thing that they basically lived off for a very long time.
Oh, yeah.
Because they poured all their money into that, and that was it, and they then had to ride that forever.
Yeah.
And even the Evora
They
is
milked the Elise chassis for every last. I mean, when you consider that they are doing a run out of the Elise at the moment,
yes,
and it is 2021,
yes,
and it came out in '96. That's a 25-year sports car.
yes.
It's a 25-year, essentially, for a good chunk of that. I mean, the Evora was what year? 2008, 9, 2010. Okay, so it's a nearly 15
You can
year.
get 59 plates, but
It's nearly a 15-year flagship model because it was the only thing they had to carry for a lot. Oh no, because they still had the Esprit at the beginning, didn't they?
right at
Till
the beginning,
2000.
right at the beginning, they still had the Esprit.
Okay, so you still got 10 years where there was no Esprit,
yeah.
and there was only the
I mean-
the Elise, and by extension
And
the
the
Exige, which was the actual kind of
And
supercharged
various
flagship.
other oddities and weirdnesses.
Yeah, obviously all the little kind of very small tent pole cars that they put
Well, I
up
mean-
special editions of.
This is the thing, like the fundamental building block of that, the chassis of that, has been in so many things. Like,
Yeah, VX220. Vauxhall VX220 was basically an Elise wearing a coat.
yeah. What about the Tesla?
Yeah, the original.
Everybody forgets
yeah.
that the first Tesla
The
was
original
basically
Tesla.
an Elise.
Yeah, and you've got the Hennessy, which is a fat Elise, I will accept.
Yes.
It is
Okay.
also a fat Elise with a V8 and 1,000 horsepower and a pair
It's-
of turbos. So
yeah.
it's an Elise that really
It's
went
had,
through the
it's
stretch.
had unnatural things done to it.
Yes. and
That
it does
V8 should not have got up there.
It does
Like, the
unnatural
doc-
things.
The doctor is looking at it, just going,
No.
"How did you get that stuck up there?"
It's one of those
Jesus.
ones for X-ray anomalies. Is that the Hennessy that Yolanda is pulling a very uncertain face at with
The Hennessy Venom. or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
the Hennessy Venom is a hell of a thing. And once you put it up on the old VT, I will switch it over.
So
Yeah, that is a long. Ooh, sorry.
the one that everybody forgets.
A long and fat Elise, which, yeah, I mean, the thing is, for a car like an Elise that's very small, that they just stretched out,
It's still a perfectly normal
it
size.
still looks good.
Yes.
And it still works, and it does the job, and it's still a good car. Like there's nothing intrinsically wrong with what they did. But I mean, they obviously messed with the balance a lot, putting American Iron in the back. I can't actually remember which V8 they put in the end. I bet it was an LS, just because LS
Probably.
the world. But yeah, like that's a hell of a thing. But yeah, the Elise chassis was versatile. Don't get me wrong. And people were keeping it good, well, not just good, but keeping it relevant.
Yeah, I mean, there's the various windscreenless versions.
Yes.
They tried no windscreen several times. There's the 211, the 311, and the 340R or something, I think.
Yes, that was the one I was thinking of. The 340R, for those who think the Exige is a little bit...
too tame.
Really. A little bit too tame, having a wild mid-engine supercharged car that will do... I mean, the Exige is good for, what, 170, 180, something like that?
Depends on
a bit more.
Depends on the spec.
Obviously, like top at, the 280.
I think mine was supposed to top out at 160-ish.
And yeah, let's just take the windscreen off and the roof.
Yeah. Why would you need those?
Yeah, make it lighter so it'll go faster and hit you in the face with everything in the world that you drive by. But yeah, sure, this seems like a perfectly reasonable thing to do. And again, people look at it, oh, those silly Brits! Look, they've run out of parts again, and they've just pushed it out. Oh. They're not so smart sometimes. No, they are. They're just lunatics, and they go, "What if we did this? Try it.
Yeah, things happen."
Yeah.
So the other one that everybody always forgets is the Europa.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is like the unloved middle child. The Europa was a plan to try and use the Elise chassis to do something more grown up.
Yes.
And they put a 2.2 litre Vauxhall engine in it, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it was the one out of the VX220. Because the VX220, I don't think used the Rover K series. I think that used.
Oh yeah, that used a 2 litre.
No, the two. It was.
And then the Europa got a 2.2.
No, so the VX220, it was 220 because it was 2.2 litre, and then they did the VX220.
There's a certain logic there.
They did the VX220 Turbo, which was the 2 litre turbo out of like the Astra GSI and all of those. So the 220 Turbo had the 2 litre, and the 220 was the 2.2 NA, which is what went in the Europa.
So the Europa is not a pretty design. It does look very odd.
I can't.
It's
I think
slightly
Yolanda
stretched in its proportions.
A little bit. A picture of the.
A little bit like the Hennessy. It's like stretched.
Oof,
and
it's not a.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
Certainly,
I'm
I mean,
not
compared to the Elise and the Exige, it's not what I would call a pretty design.
You can see the problem is you can see the Elise windscreen instantly.
Yes.
It just is, but it looks like I've added a top on it very well afterwards, or a coach builder has added a top onto the back, because all the rest of it's kind of dull and just plain. Yeah. It's not square, but it's kind of square.
Yeah. So and then they filled it with sound deadening, and they put a cup holder in it, and they put electric windows in it, and
they put a cup holder in it.
Yeah.
And the crowd went mild.
So that was like the first experiment, I guess, and it was of mixed success. And the Evora was a much better resolved approach to the problem. It wasn't built off the Elise chassis. Lots of people say, "Oh, the Evora is just a stretched Elise," and it's not actually true.
Fresh chassis. Fresh-ish.
It shares components, and it very much uses the same technology, but it is fundamentally different in most of its dimensions. So the Evora worked up, and it was just better. It is much more grown up. It's got bits in all the right places to actually make it, a car that you can use every day.
Yes.
And the Emira is just really, it's taking like people say the Emira is like, oh my god, this is some huge but no, it's actually, you watch what Lotus have been doing. They have been slowly getting softer and more cooperative.
It's very much
about
like
stuff.
the target demographic of the Lotus is getting older, and they are realizing that their target demographic is not as young as they were. The younger crowd who would be going into a Lotus also want the gadgets because all of their cars currently have the gadget, and they want GPS, they want aircon, they want electric one, they want all of the conveniences. And the older generation of not the older generation, that sounds very dismissive, the older generation of Lotus drivers want more comfort, they want more things, because they're not able to get in. I mean, I'm barely able to get in over that sill into the Elise. It's not a graceful car to get in and out of.
But the other thing that plays around this whole area though is where they now sit in the marketplace and where
they've kind of gone
pushing.
Premium.
Yeah, so the Evora started at.
Just an aside, are they still doing Lotus 7s? Or has that completely been killed off to Caterhams now?
They sold the tooling, the licensing,
I thought so.
and the name
Yeah.
to Caterham
Yeah.
decades ago.
I wonder
You have not
whether
been able to buy a Lotus 7
a proper Lotus.
since the 60s.
Yeah, this is what I've seen some very recent ones, but I think they've been kits made up to look like a Lotus, and they've been a Lotus 7 replica as a kit, because it's had a newer plate on, but it still had a Lotus 7, and that's completely thrown me, because as you say...
Oh yeah, I mean, like, people will stick Lotus on the front of it.
Precisely. Because they can do what they want, you know.
There was a
it's a
rumour...
replica.
There was a rumour on the forums that Lotus was considering selling the Elise tooling to Caterham.
That would be... I mean, it would make sense.
There's form.
Yeah.
It's an asset that they could sell off because they're never going to go that way again. They are moving up market.
Yeah.
They're moving to more expensive cars. The floor on the Emira is 40 grand for the is it 40 grand? No, sorry. 60 grand. 60 grand for the 4-cylinder.
Yeah.
85 for the 6-cylinder. I think, but I should probably check that. Yolanda, can you check the price on a... Can I get a price check? Price check on aisle 5, please.
Yeah.
On the Emira?
Yeah, for the... See if you can find the price for the 4-cylinder and the 6-cylinder. I think it's 60 and 85k. So they're moving up market, and they're moving... And that's why you can't sell an 85 grand car that doesn't have Bluetooth, sat-nav, aircon...
Electric windows, electric seats. I mean,
rear view cameras.
You can probably get away
yada,
with...
yada, yada,
you can probably get away with not having full electric seats, given the car that it is.
But, okay, so you could get away with that. Or, here's a thought.
Yeah.
How about we make the base car with that?
Yeah.
And then when we take rid of all of those things...
We charge you more.
We charge you more!
Ah, this is the
Who's
Porsche
done
model.
that?
Yeah. Carrera 4 Turbo, GT3, GT3 RS. Yeah. So, and of course, if you want those things again...
Oh, you want to option them back in?
Yeah.
To your super expensive version that we gave a little bit of extra power to make sure it is generally faster.
Yeah.
You want to... Oh, certainly, sir, we can option all those things back in.
But it'll cost you.
Yes.
Yeah.
So...
Porsche.
Yeah, so
how you can option things with, or rather, how you can't have a 60 grand car that doesn't have a certain level of amenities, let's call it.
Yeah, basically.
What is...
Quote the website.
Is keeping tight-lipped about prices, but has confirmed that you'll be able to get your hands on an entry-level Emira for less than 60,000.
I think that probably means 5,999.
This is like the Corvette C8, which was it's less than $60,000. It is $59,995.
Yep.
Well done, Corvette. You kept your word. It was under 60 grand. You are not wrong.
The interior is very nice on the Emira.
Right. So we were trying to get to the configurator, and
yes. We are now in the configurator.
We are now in the configurator. So this is the Lotus website. We're in the configurator. And
how much can you actually configure?
Well,
on it?
so we were just talking about Porsche's business model.
Yes.
Where everything is an option.
Less is more.
Less
and
is
more is also
more expensive, and also more is more.
Yes.
So Lotus are clearly, I think, heading in that direction.
Yeah.
But they haven't really worked it out yet, as you're about to see, because there are not many things to configure in this configurator.
Wow.
You can still make a very nice car out of this.
Yeah.
But I think like they haven't quite got the hang of the fact that you can charge for everything. So there is no option in here for would you like air in your tyres?
Is there
Because that will be extra sick.
is there is somebody at Geely going to be making a very interesting phone call to somebody at Lotus going, you seem to have missed a few things.
Yeah.
We can do more here.
Yeah. Well, it depends if one of our 3 viewers is from Geely, I suppose.
Yes.
So just before we move forwards, it does look very good in this blue, which I still think is a little bit Laguna Seca-ish. It's a little bit flatter than that.
Laguna Seca.
Yeah,
It's
it's
a darker
definitely darker than Laguna Seca. I think that's probably mostly down to the pearl.
Yeah, I suppose.
To be fair,
So
just to go off on a slight tangent here, there's another channel on
why
YouTube.
break the habit of a lifetime?
Why break the habit? Harry's Garage, which is a really good channel. It's
Yes.
Harry who founded Evo magazine. Was wanting, or he is in the process of restoring his Jaguar XJC. Really nice, had a complete stripped down bare metal near enough all the way back, and they've fixed all of the rot. There was obviously rot because it's a 1970s Jag, of course there's rot. People had a go at it before and they just layered metal over the top, so the place that did it, really good work on it. Had full engine overhaul, the works, so it'll be mint. And it was a very similar kind of blue to this, albeit very flat, very sort of 70s pastel flat.
Yep.
And he decided he didn't want that. And he decided the colour he wanted was a green in the Aston Martin configurator.
Right.
Which is... It's a very, very dark green. It's not British Racing green, but it's a very dark green. It's like a very woodland green.
Let's go green.
Let's see what... yeah, it's that kind of... I think it's probably even a little bit darker than that, but it's because it's very 70s, as he put it. He's like, that's what I want out of this. And he contacted Aston Martin and said, could I have a panel, like, to test this? I want to see what it looks like in the light and see how it goes. Good job he did, because the actual colour itself has like a black flip in it. And he's like, I don't like that. I don't like the black flip. However, they did not deliver him a panel. They didn't deliver him a test sample. What they delivered to him was an Aston Martin DBX in the chosen colour, because when you are the founder of a performance magazine that has a very good relationship with Aston Martin, they kind of go a step above, and they'll just send you a car with the keys. And he give him his due. He also then put it on the channel and went, so I wanted to test the colour, and they kind of gave me a car, so thanks very much. But it was
Presumably not to keep.
No, as a demo. But only someone like Harry can be like, I just want to see what this colour looks like. Okay. Well, I get, it's not what I asked for, but perks of the job.
Yeah.
And yet he had this very nice green, and he went to the body place. They had their analyzer come in. They measured it off the car, so they basically robbed this paint code off the car with a spectral analyzer to look at the paint.
Yeah.
Found out all the elements that were in it, and then just removed all the black from the recipe, and then just made it up without the black flipping. So it just had this nice kind of olive dark green pearlescent effect to it, and sprayed up a test panel. He went, yeah, that's perfect, done. But it was just it was a really nice colour green, and as soon as on the configurator, it looked fantastic, but with the black in, I didn't like it either, I must admit.
So pick your colour, please, Adrian. There's a bit of lag on this, isn't there? So
there's going to be a bit of lag into the main review screen. However, we have foldback directly over there where you can see exactly what's up.
So we have a grand total of 6 colours to choose from.
6 colours. Well, I feel like I should have a dice in here, really, but
roll 1d6.
roll 1d6 for colour. We might actually. I might have my D&D dice over there.
Are we gonna?
I actually have my D&D. yes, I do. Until I'm not serious D&D, I only have one set of D&D dice.
You are not a dice goblin.
No, I am not.
Need more shiny clicky clacks.
Need more shiny clicky clacks. I mean, I have many more dice because I was a Warhammer nerd once upon a time. I mean, I still am, but I just don't have the opportunity. Yeah, there's guard life. You have to roll a lot of
damage.
saves. Yeah. No, it's the What's the Gatling gun on the Valkyrie? It's just like, oh, it fires 20 shots.
Yeah.
It's not like roll to see how many times. You're like, oh, I get 20 dice and just barrel over.
Okay, so this is going to be the random Lotus.
So this is Rando Calrissian. This is Rando Calrissian's Lotus.
Reading from the top, we have Seneca Blue, which
Yes.
is the colour that they seem to be using most in the promotional
Now,
material.
personally, I am a huge fan of blue, so naturally I would say blue. So I'm going to discount blue from my choice just because it's the obvious one that I would go for.
That is the Seneca Blue I was taken off the website.
Right.
That's very
on the left.
That's very much ultramarine.
Oh,
blue
are you comparing
because
with the Laguna Seca?
and that's Laguna Seca, right?
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
This is. Hang on one second.
My memory is clearly off.
Come on,
You should be
what
able
have
to
you
just
done?
flip it.
Yeah.
It's set.
Yeah.
There we go.
So that is Laguna Seca blue on
so the
camera right.
The rampantly incorrect statement I made earlier, that I thought that it was a bit Laguna Seca-ish, is pretty
and that
far
is
off.
ultramarine blue on the left, which obviously, as we were just touching on Warhammer, is the colour of ultramarines as well.
Huh. Right, so reading
Sort of
from the
makes
top,
sense, really, when you
but
think about it.
Internally, they're calling that Seneca Blue.
Yeah.
Then
It does,
we have-
to be fair, when you take it off the site, it does depend on where in the sheen you take it from. You'd have to really take an average and the lighting effects and blah, 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 blah.
Okay,
No,
so then we've got two greys. We've got Nimbus Grey and Shadow Grey.
See, Shadow
one-
Grey looks a bit gunmetal-y, and I am a sucker for a gunmetal on
Yeah.
a car.
Nimbus Grey is really kind of your silver
Yeah.
in reality. So they're calling it grey, but it's silver.
Yeah.
Then you have, I think, probably what I would put out as my favourite, which is Dark Verdant.
Something close to British Racing Green.
It's
but
obviously
not...
close to British Racing Green, but it's going to be a Lotus spin on that.
Yeah.
It's going to look amazing with yellow badges, and you can,
definitely.
you can put yellow calipers on this thing, so that's going to look good.
That would.
Then we have some Hethel yellow.
Hethel.
Hethel yellow.
Hethel yellow. All right.
Yeah.
Hethel.
All right.
Every
Hethel-
single. I'm drawing a line in the sand right now. Every single yellow Emira that I see, I'm going to call
It's
it.
going to be
Ethel.
called Ethel.
I'm going to call it
sure.
Ethel.
Because
and
you're
you can
gonna-
hold me to that because I'll probably forget. So
Because you're going to see so many Emiras, right?
obviously
Well, we don't know. You might.
Lotus dealership. It's got to have one in.
Yeah. Okay, so we got Hethel yellow, which.
Well, no, we wouldn't go to a Henley Lotus dealership, would we? We'd go to Bell and Colville, obviously.
Yes, of course we would.
Hey, they were really nice when we went to.
For all your Subaru, Morgan, McLaren,
Yes.
Lotus,
Yeah.
and Saab needs.
Yes, exactly. They were really nice when we went to. We were at Goodwood. Were we at
Yes.
Goodwood?
Oh yeah, you ran into Jamie. didn't
Yes.
you?
And we ran into James's personal Lotus dealer.
He is not my personal Lotus dealer. He's just the guy that I've bought a couple of cars off.
I don't
and
know.
sold,
Wait.
and sold some cars too. And
Yes, yeah. The big blue bus, the Subaru
No,
bus.
no, that
didn't,
wasn't-
that didn't come from. That came from Birmingham, didn't it?
Yes, you were with
because
me.
I was with you. Yes,
Yeah, it was a super shady place down like
Yes.
an industrial trading estate.
It genuinely
He had
was.
no idea what he had.
No, he absolutely didn't. Wow.
Yeah.
But you've had the Exige,
So yeah, I've had
the big white whale, which is your current Forester.
Yes. Yeah. So we've for Subarus, I had a silver WRX Estate. Then I had the big blue bus, the Forester STI Litchfield. Now I've got a Forester XT. I've also had the Exige, the Lotus Exige 1.8 supercharged that I had for a while. I sold my E46 M3 to Jamie when I bought
you got the
Exige.
Yeah. Didn't you buy the M3 from him as well?
No.
Where did that come
Bought
from?
the M3 from a guy in Basingstoke.
Oh,
no, in
okay.
Newbury. Guy in Newbury.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
But I sold it to him. Then I bought the Exige. I sold the Exige back to him,
Yes.
and I bought the
Z4. That was it. It was the Z4
off him as
that you
well.
got. That was the big
because
for you.
basically I just stalk the fucking adverts until I find something with a Bell and Colville history, and then go and buy it. Because apparently, because the white one is a Bell and Colville car that I bought from Key Solutions in Wales,
And then brought it back to
Yes.
Bell and Colville.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So yes, I've spent far too much money with them over the years. Right, so Hethel Yellow is the modern update of what used to be Norfolk Yellow.
Yes. Yeah, that was classic.
it's-
Classic Elise yellow.
You used to
know,
see a
it
lot
just-
of yellow.
it
It's
was.
Elises, yeah, and it looks good on them. So
Interesting, actually. There isn't a black.
there is not a black. No.
Huh. You see so many Elise and specifically the Exiges. You see so many of those in black. They've just taken that. I bet people are going to rack them in black. 100%.
Well, there is a black pack.
Ah, okay.
Would you like to guess?
They're charging extra for it. Somebody's been to the
They're learning.
Someone's been to the Porsche seminar, obviously.
Would you like to know or take a guess at to where Hethel is?
Hethel?
Hethel? It's Scotland, isn't it?
Hethel?
Yeah, as in Hethel Yellow.
Yeah.
Hethel, Norfolk.
Yeah.
Oh, it is Norfolk. Okay. fair
Hethel is
enough.
where the bloody factory is, you fool.
Ah.
It's approximately 5 miles southeast of the market.
So
town
what?
of
So really, they've just
Richmond.
refined their yellow paint a little bit.
Pretty much.
From Norfolk yellow, it's now Hethel yellow.
Yes.
Is the
It
next
is-
yellow going to be? What street is it on? I'm going to put a bet on now, saying that they're going to do a yellow.
Have you not seen the signpost for Elise Way that leads to Exige Close?
An Exige is also always close. You can,
Exiges are here,
yeah.
and they want to be
Yeah.
here. Yeah,
The chances of an Exige being near you is never zero. They're always close.
Yes.
It's low. It's always close.
Yeah.
So what have they called the red then?
The red is Magma Red.
Ah, good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Okay,
Do you
so-
want to look at them each individually? But
Yeah.
just a few things. So let's look at Magma Red on this. So
it's a bit.
The question is, looking at the front of that,
Yeah.
if I blanked out the badge, how hard would I have to work to try and convince you it was a Ferrari?
Not at all.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
This
oh,
is the thing.
is that
In
is that
red-
the 458 replacement or something like
in
that?
red, does this not look
Yeah.
Ferrari-esque?
Yolanda, if you could just pull up a picture of a 458 on the old VT PC over there, and we can.
458.
Yeah. Because honestly, even like.
I mean, I know
you
it's
just
a-
drop the other little yellow badge on.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
From a distance. So
from
I mean,
from my distance here, and I'm nearly 6 foot away from you. COVID safe. I mean, we don't need to be right now. We've relaxed those rules, but even so,
I got double
like-
jab the other day.
I've got 3 weeks to mine. 3 weeks to my second.
Mine came early.
It's because you're old.
Yeah.
I'm glad you
I mean,
agree.
that is quite a bronzy red.
Yeah, you can
It's in no
easily-
way Ferrari red at all. But
just
99.9% of the man
there
on the
is-
street or woman on the street is going to think that is a Ferrari.
yeah, it's very
the,
458.
particularly the cuts on the bonnet.
Yeah.
Do make it look particularly
Yeah.
Ferrari-esque.
Yeah.
So it's no bad thing. I'm not saying that at all. It's like, God, what's the other car that's been compared to the to one of the Ferraris? Is it the Peugeot 406 Coupe, the Pininfarina?
Oh yeah,
Coupe
yeah.
That everybody said, like, in a certain light, it looks very Ferrari-esque. That's never a bad thing.
It's Pininfarina, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
I mean,
never a
that's
bad
the-
thing for a car. So it says that they're doing something really good.
Yeah.
That it looks really good in red. So like that is a good colour. And to be honest, I don't think there is a bad colour.
No.
The other thing about this is a lot of the reviews or the kind of the first look, the early press fluff, is that it looks better in the flesh than it does in pictures, and that there is not a bad angle on it. So
I really don't think there is. I'm certainly not in the. Obviously,
it's.
in the,
I mean, if you take it
can't
from the
see.
side, if you take it from the side,
Yeah,
the proportions.
it's good.
Once you get over how big the wheels are,
Yeah,
the proportions are really, really strong. It's got that like junior super
Yeah.
slash hypercar
MP4C kind of.
really nailed.
Yeah,
For a car that you can have for 60 grand.
yeah.
So what's a competitor at 60 grand? It's the Cayman
It's
or
it's
a
an
high-end BMW slash Mercedes
Well, I was gonna
slash
say,
Audi coupe.
I'm not sure what an entry-level 911 Carrera 2 bare bones spec comes in at, but it's
80?
probably is it still 80? I wonder if
Probably.
it was like high 60s, but
Oh God, no.
I suppose
I mean-
that is more Cayman money, really. That is more spec'd up Cayman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fact checking.
So-
What am I fact checking then?
Yes.
What's the cheapest you can buy a 911?
a brand new.
A brand new 911.
So
But yeah, like 60 grand for that.
So you look at the side
is-
profile, you've got, I mean the profile through that with the cut into the door at the bottom in
Yeah.
a darker colour, that is a hangover from the Evora.
Yes,
The
the Evora
Evora's
did,
got that
yeah.
same, and it makes I can't like gesture properly because the camera's over there. And I'm gesturing to you, and so like I'm doing all of this, and all
What
the
we
people at
need is-
home are just seeing like a hand do like
just-
this.
yeah.
Yeah.
What we need is to bring the big TV to here at some point.
No, you need a camera over the table pointing
You mean like
downwards
that
so that I can draw things on here.
You mean like that one?
Yes.
We have top cam.
Well,
we just have no paper.
Where's my whiteboard pen so that I can draw on the table?
What we need is a Microsoft Studio.
Yes.
You do, so that
You
I can
do.
do the football, like where they start drawing all over the pitch.
You don't even need a studio for that. I know somebody who could set that software up actually.
Well, there you go.
Convenient.
You can have that for my next visit. So,
Hard top.
Ooh. 992 Carrera 2,
Carrera
I guess.
2. Yeah.
Yeah. £82,793 for
Told
the
you.
hard top,
Told you.
or 92,000 for the cabriolet.
It's 10 grand extra to go cabrio.
To make it worse.
Good lord.
To make it heavier and floppier. Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So we're looking at the side profile. We're noting the cutout into the door underneath, right? Which is a hangover from the Evora, but again, it's been slightly modified to make it match the design language on the Evia.
Yeah, they
And
definitely haven't scrapped the whole design language of
So
like
what you're looking
existing
for
Loti.
is the Roman gladius shape. So if your eye follows the line from the very front of the car,
Is that what it is?
it was like elven sword from Lord of the Rings. Yeah. So it starts at a point.
Yeah, and
It
then
goes to heavy,
wide,
it
and
just
then
slightly narrows,
wide
and then
again.
it flares out again.
Yeah.
Now follow that line
Okay,
as
so
you go
it's-
over the front wheel.
Yeah.
Then you come through, and there's that narrowing as you go past the door, which
Yeah.
really thins down.
It's the Coke bottle lines
Thins,
as
yeah,
well.
yeah,
usually,
exactly.
Isn't it?
It's basically, it's
Yeah.
like a Coke bottle on its side. And then it flares out as you go past the driver, and then brings you out, and then obviously it meets the other lines coming through. So side profile, to my mind, knocks it out of the park.
Yeah.
I think they can
It's
probably.
classic. I mean, it'd be hard to go wrong.
Well, you say it's
with
classic,
those.
but it's a very modern design.
Well, no, it's
You
a
know.
classic. It's a classic starting point.
Yeah.
For
Yeah,
for
exactly, exactly. I think in future you'll probably see something more done with that rear spoiler.
that. I think
There'll be
put a
the
wing on it at some
GT430
point,
version with a full wing on.
Yeah.
That is going to look baller.
yeah. Yes, that's
That is
going to
really
look
going to look amazing.
so angry.
Yeah, yeah. So the other thing that you can just pick out on this side profile is if you can see just there's a hairline across there behind the headlight.
Yeah.
Right, so this is another evolution that comes over from the Evora, that front bumper is a separate panel from the rest of the shell up here. At
Yay!
the top
They
of the
haven't
engine.
made the mistake.
So they
again.
haven't done. So one of the big problems with the Elises and the Exiges is that if you tap the front or back of them, it's new clam time because the whole front and back of the car is one piece.
Apart from the doors, it's 50% of the bodywork on the car. If you prang the front or rear, that's it.
So
That's,
when I got rear-ended in my Exige
Yes.
by an Audi that left an Audi badge imprint
yes, it did.
smacked into the back of the car.
Yeah. Stop
it
doing
was-
lithography.
Yeah, it was a roll of the dice, if you will. Thank you very much. It was a roll of the dice of whether it was going to be repairable, because of course it's
Yeah.
all fiberglass, and the
Yeah.
Emira is also fiberglass in terms of body panels.
You would expect it from Lotus at
Yep.
this point, really.
It was a roll of the dice when it was cracked of whether it was repairable or whether it was whole new shell time.
Yeah.
Repairable, about £800 to £1,000. Whole new
not bad.
shell,
10?
£5,000.
Oh, okay. Not quite as bad, but still.
Yeah, yeah. So there's your hairline at the front that says you can tap
We're
the
not-
front of this. And it's
We're
gonna
not
kill you.
actually idiots,
And-
and they've got the same at the back for the spoiler
Yeah, so
line.
they're cleverly hiding
Yeah.
that brake
That's nicely
by
done.
integrating it with the brake lights and then just sweeping it forwards onto the wheel, which is really, really neatly done. So your eye loses those details,
Yeah.
but they are there and they're functional details.
Yeah.
This is good design.
It's
happening.
I
So-
think they've had somebody from an insurance company has had words,
Yeah.
or a body shop, or
So now I've turned it forwards by about 15 or 20 degrees.
and
yeah.
it's not quite a full 3/4 shot there.
Yeah, okay, so if we go to the full 3/4
Yeah.
there, actually the effect is even more pronounced. Right, suddenly you're seeing a
Really good.
completely different shape,
Mm.
right? Now you're seeing the infinity shape
Yeah,
between, and then the eye is drawn here, just under the mirror.
yeah.
That's your center point. You've got the sweep out into this Evia
Big
evoking duct work. Look at the size of that duct. But
top duct.
top duct. Oh, okay. Broken your leg
Yeah.
once.
Our director's going to need a moment to compose herself.
Yeah, so, but look how it comes forwards and it brings in the shape over the top, the arch that comes over and mirrors it down into the front headlight.
Yeah.
The sweeping line coming back from the front, from the kind of the nose line, brings it round, and you're kind of pulling the whole thing into a really nice. There's a really nice design there.
Really,
Yeah.
what you're saying is I really should have been looking at a lot more Lotuses when I was designing the bodywork on my car. For
You're
some
not
really good.
You're not working in fiberglass.
No, this is true. Yeah.
Okay.
No,
So-
but to be fair, I'm now working in sheet metal, which is oddly easier. At least because
Yeah.
I don't have to make a mould.
Yelena, could you find a preferably number plateless shot of the front of an Evora?
Oh, good luck.
Right. So
Although
this
no,
is
press shots.
yeah. So this is your front-on shot. We've already commented how much this looks like a modern Ferrari. There's a little bit of Lotus DNA in how they've structured this this kind of front line. You've got quite a low nose, obviously, and everything under there does kind of say Lotus. That partitioning into 3 bits is consistent with what sits on the Evora.
Yeah. Well, they did that on the Exige, on
Yeah.
the Elite.
They're all the same, and it's a basic functional design that's really holding up this front splitter.
Yeah.
The disappointing bit about this is that they didn't keep the Evora's happy-go-lucky sheepdog front looks. No, I need an older one than that. Sorry.
Oh, is that the latest one?
So this is one thing where I think the design language
One
has gone
second, I'm just
backwards
gonna
slightly. That the original Evora is just the happiest car you have ever seen. It makes a MX-5 look sad. It really
strong
does.
words.
Strong words.
The current Gen MX-5 is a happy little car.
It is indeed. Are we going to find
Look at that.
Gen 1? Yeah, okay, we'll get to the interior in a bit. Don't worry.
Right, so there's an interesting one here. Sorry, I'm going to flick this one up a second. This is something that I really liked, weirdly enough, on the Prius that a friend of mine has.
Okay.
Underneath the no, pop that one back. Sorry, Yolanda. On the Prius, underneath the gear stick, it has a pocket.
Oh,
and this
right.
has exactly the same thing. Underneath the gear stick, there is a pocket.
Oh, that's the phone.
Yeah, and
That's the fun one.
I've integrated this into the kit car as well because we need to do a tunnel over the top. It's like, well, we have some dead space, or we could just mould it in. So it's steel.
Yeah.
So it had to be sort of fabricated up. It seems a bit much. We're gonna have to do some stuff to try and make it not rattle so badly.
Yeah.
But even so, just having that little bit extra storage there, oh, what a godsend!
Yeah. So
I love that.
we'll talk about the interior in a minute.
Is it a flippy poppy screen or is it a permanent?
I think it's permanent.
Dealy? It looks permanent.
Yeah.
Not many people do flips anymore. Everybody's getting rid of all the manual controls to go onto the other stuff.
What kind of age are we looking for?
2010, 2012 would work.
I have oiled this chair and it's still sometimes just there we go,
That's nice.
creaking away.
So, what else are we going to look at?
So, we need to start configuring.
Well, I'm still working my way around proving that there are no bad angles on this thing.
I'm going to have to change the title of this video. Instead of Thunderbird part, it's just going to be nerding out over the Emira, which is no real bad thing. But yeah, it's...
Yes! There he is.
Yeah.
Look how happy he is.
Don't get me wrong, it is a very happy car.
It's so happy. Honestly, it's on some form of drugs. It really is. There's no way it can be that happy.
Yeah, it's very smiley.
I'm sad that they've lost that. Like, it's more aggressive. It's more.
I mean, rounded curves like that though are very sort of 2010s.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's dated. It's dated at this point.
Yeah. Whereas the you've got the back at the moment.
Yeah.
Whereas this is much more crisp,
I can't get
cutting.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
To be
much
fair,
more aggressive.
It's very similar to what I have in the back of my mind for the front of the kit cars.
Yeah.
For
sure.
exactly the same reason as they pretty much do it. It's to hold the
structural
splitter
to
up.
hold up the splitter. Yeah.
It does a job holding the splitter up, so we're going
Yeah.
to have to do something fairly similar
Right,
to that.
so
but
Just
Yeah.
the last thing is the view that most people will probably get of this car. So you've got 2 big ducts there. That again mirrors
no, it is in fact up.
that mirrors the Avia.
Yeah.
Though obviously in a less dramatic. It's not a
just
full
venty.
through tunnel. It's just a vent. I think the rear headlights are interesting.
rear headlights.
The rear
you say?
headlights, yeah.
Well
those.
done. You mean the rear lights?
The rear lights,
Yes.
those, yeah, they're interesting. One of the areas where Lotus classically has had issues is that they reuse
Other
parts
people's.
from other cars. So
like the SD1.
Yes.
Like
the fact that even
basic round headlights from a Defender, I think they had at one point.
Oh yeah, and the indicator stalk from an Austin Allegro or something. You know,
Yeah.
so they have a terrible history of reusing bits, and it seems they've really broken away from that with you know the just the fit and finish on this kind of thing.
Geely have got enough money to throw into R&D that they can go, hey, we'll just get something custom made that looks better and give it a premium thing, and people will buy it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Which is, it's what Lotus has needed for a long time. Yeah. I'd very much like TVR to have the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Somebody who can just pour money in and just be like, just leave it a while, it'll get there.
Yeah. Right.
And
So we were gonna roll for our colour.
So I'm gonna re-roll ones because it's blue.
You don't.
And I would obviously.
If you roll a 6, then it's gonna stay red.
Roll a 6. All right.
So it's gonna stay red. So it's gonna be a Ferrari. So we do have some exterior options.
Interesting.
This is the extent of the exterior options list.
Really? Is that it?
Black pack options. So you can go black pack.
Yeah.
Which gives you, eventually, there we go, a black roof, black wing mirrors.
That's very Ferrari.
Yes, indeed.
Wow, that shouldn't be called the black pack. That should be the Enzo pack. I mean, really.
I mean, yeah.
Pull the Lotus badge off, and that is a Ferrari all day long.
Pretty much. So it's also blacking out the section under the door to make that effect more accentuated.
Fully black rather than like gloss black.
Yeah. So you can also
do. You can also. Okay, are we going? Sorry. Okay.
Well,
so what are the options?
So the lower black pack keeps this section under the door black,
but colour codes the roof.
So the roof goes back to colour code, and the wing mirrors go back to colour code.
I think if you were doing I don't think the black underside looks as good with the colour coded roof. I think generally it looks better with the black top. I don't think it would work as well on the green because the green is already very dark and you don't have the contrast.
Like on yellow, the black pack is even more fantastic. Right.
Yeah.
So you got 3 options. So 1, 2, 3.
1, 2.
1, 2. No.
1, 2 is regular.
1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 6. Yeah.
Right.
So 5, 6 is black. Is black
lower.
5, 6. We're going with black lower.
Yep.
So far, you have selected things, and then the dice has agreed with you, which is an interesting one.
Right. So wheels and brakes
does have wheel options then.
We have some wheel options. Okay. They are all 20-inch.
It's very big. So what have we got? So we've got the sort of twin spoke 5s, not quite parallel M Sports, but.
Okay, so your basic wheel.
Is this kind of
is a silver 9-spoke. Is that 9-spoke?
I do like 9. Yeah, it's a 9-spoke.
No, it's 10-spoke. I can't count.
I missed
10
one.
spoke.
Yeah.
Yep. So you've got silver 10-spoke.
I do love a 9 or 10-spoke wheel though.
It's a standard wheel. It's not listed as forged.
Yeah.
So it will be slightly heavier, and it won't be that forged diamond cut type affair. But that is a really nice.
I was going to say as an entry level 20-inch wheel.
As an entry level 20-inch. Then you can go black wheels.
Mm-hmm.
You
can do full murdered out on this. Black wheels, black everything, black roof.
But you can't
do black car. Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
Then you've got your diamond cuts, which is I think probably kind of the premium that they're offering.
I must admit I am not as much of a fan of those wheels with the diamond cut face as I am the basic ones. I prefer the basic ones over those, or that's presumably diamond cut but black.
Well, so that's blacked out or fully silver.
Yeah, fully silver, they look a lot better.
This is the thing. I mean, I think, if it was me, I would probably be going forged. What?
Well, Emmy tuned into the D&D Lotus expansion. Yes. Yeah, basically.
Also, I've just realised that the picture-in-picture means that people can't actually see the wheels that we're talking about.
Okay, fair enough.
If I do that, that's a bit better.
There you go.
Because the picture-in-picture.
Don't just cycle through them again.
Yeah. Okay. So sorry.
But yes, Emmy. This is basically Lotus D&D. So we rolled for colour check and we got red. Yeah. And then rolled for body options really, and we got black lower skirts.
What there was, black lower skirts. Yeah. So your wheel options, you've got your basic wheel in silver.
Okay, well let's just go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5
and re-roll
6s. Yeah. 2. So we're going.
Oh, you mean the one that I've got it on already?
Yes.
I am 3 for 3 on
You are
this.
3
now.
for 3 on predicting
Holy
the
shit,
dice.
I should be rolling up my.
This
It's
is-
like the Mystic Mega.
Yes.
Yeah. yeah.
Okay, brakes was the next one.
Right.
wasn't it?
Okay. So yeah, now we do have brake colours. So this is where we kind of got ourselves a bit stuck because now, so just on the brakes, which are massive, by the way.
They are large.
Notice also that on the rear we have double calipers.
Yeah.
So I'm presuming.
Must be.
I don't know. I'm presuming
Look,
is that
handbrake.
brake and handbrake
Yeah, brake and handbrake.
with separate calipers?
Separate handbrake caliper.
Yeah.
So you can rag it hard, and then put the handbrake on without necessarily cooking the pads onto the disc as badly as if your pads are hot and your discs are hot, because
Yeah,
you'll start
true.
soaking the heat away rather than just gluing it all together and
Mhm.
heat welding it.
Yep.
Which is never
Okay.
particularly
So
good.
your options for this are.
Silver, red, yellow. See,
Silver-
I can't help but think that the reds on the reds would look good, but oh, no, you can go black as well.
Silver, red, yellow, black.
Okay, so I guess
So-
we'll re-roll 1s and 6s and
I
go
was
2,
gonna say,
3,
there should
4,
be a
5.
D4 in your
I mean-
box, but-
Oh yeah, there
Oh,
will be
yeah.
a D4. Yeah, there's no D5, but there's definitely a D4. We've got the tools here. We might as well use the right one, eh?
Yeah.
D&D continues.
Hang on. I need to try and work out. I have a horrible feeling it's going to be yellow. Just calling it now.
One. No,
One.
it's silver, which
It's
is
silver.
already what it's on.
Which is already what it's on.
Yeah.
So-
Let's just cycle through and
So
see.
you just want to look.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to make sure that the caliper is actually visible, which is a little
It
bit
is
awkward.
above the pip.
It is.
Is that-
I'm
is
just
that
gonna.
just above
I'm
the
gonna
pip?
pop the pip off just briefly
Yeah.
while you do this. Just scroll
Okay.
through them. So.
Cool.
So you've got yellows.
So we've got silver
Yeah.
base, red.
Oh,
Which-
it looks
it
good
doesn't
with
work.
the red,
It
but I
doesn't
don't
work in my
think
mind.
it works as well as the
No,
silver.
because you've got red and it's two
yeah,
different
it's
shades.
too much. It's too much.
Yeah. You've got yellow.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of yellow calipers all up, unless it's on a yellow car
Or a black car.
or a black car. Yeah.
Yes. And you got black.
See, I'd go black.
Yeah, black with black wheels does kind of work.
Yeah.
It is kind of murder spec, as
Yeah.
you say.
Yeah. Right, pop it back
but
on
in
silver.
this
Let's go
case-
to the next one.
We're at silver. So now, this is the bit which used to be the problem because you're about to move inside. And
Right.
suddenly things are a little bit different to the way they used to be.
Ooh.
So
Now you have options.
Well, we have some options. Yeah, you're going to need your D8. So let's just have a look
yeah,
around
actually.
in here.
So Adrian Bourne points out a very good thing. Yellow does look good with the blue. Yellow and
Yellow and
blue
blue.
contrasting
Oh, yeah, that would work.
colours. Yeah.
That would work.
So
yeah.
basically, what I'm saying is that yellow calipers don't work except for on yellow cars, blue cars, black cars, green cars, because
Yes.
that just came to mind all of a
Yes.
sudden.
I feel like we should just say they don't work on red cars.
Yeah, or purple cars.
Yeah, maybe that.
Yeah, that might be a faster way. Our four main exceptions to yellow calipers are
Yes.
black, blue, yellow, and green.
Yellow and purple though may work because
No.
they're
Oh
God.
no.
They're
No.
opposites. They should go together. They're
No,
opposite
they-
sides of the colour.
no,
They should, but
They should, but they don't.
I mean, there's been a really disgusting purple Evora for sale for about the last 9 months, and it's got yellow calipers and yeah.
It would just have to be. Actually, I
Where is
mean,
that one?
Yeah, Yolanda's
it's
gonna find
probably
this
on
and bring it
Auto
up,
Trader.
mate.
I think probably it may have sold eventually. I can't remember. It was about like 70-80 grand. It was one of the 410s. Right, so we're inside our Emira. So
what options?
I
We have an
can't-
on-off at the top one. I think I saw. I must admit, it does look very nice. The
So-
seats do look quite comfortable.
Yeah, so we have parcel shelf behind us.
Mm-hmm.
We have seats which are Lotus branded, not Recaro branded anymore. I don't know whether they are
Yeah.
Recaros or not. And at
Fun
the moment,
fact,
at the
what-
moment we're all in black leather.
What do Recaro make seats for more than anything else?
Trains? Planes.
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 Most
yes.
plane seats are Recaro. Not that you
Yes.
would know that they were Recaro from the comfort level that they give, because they generally don't. And I find Recaros in cars extremely comfortable, but not plane seats. But
Yeah, funny that. Right,
Weird.
so things to just comment on in this interior. So obviously we have our iPad.
yes.
Again, we've already had the discussion about the kind of the customer expectation in the 2020s of what you have
on
to
a
have
60 grand car.
for a car to be worth 60, 80 grand.
Yeah.
It's got to be there. It's not really a Lotus thing, but they've got it. You know, they've got it there. We've also got the TFT dash now, so that is all fully digital as well. They've
actually,
had that.
I mean, you'd expect that.
Yeah, they've had that since the later Evoras, so that's not completely new, but that's good to see. The wheel, there's been quite a lot of commentary about the wheel because it is hexagonal, effectively. So flat top, flat bottom,
Yeah, I
and
guess it is.
slightly dipped sides. It's, to me,
It's not the Allegro one, at least, which
It's-
was the weird oblong, the rounded square oblong one, which just made for weird. Oh, no.
The
No.
jokes, The jokes have been made. I'm not sure how I feel about that wheel. I feel like it looks to me like it's too big and too thick. But I'm sure it is super comfy when it's under your
I'm just going to say, I bet it probably feels perfect.
Yeah, I would guess.
Annoyingly so.
The other thing, though, that I don't really like, they've got the Lotus badge in the centre and it looks to be blacked out. So the yellow is gone from the Lotus badge in the centre. And it does say Emira on the bottom of the wheel, and that, I think, is tacky.
Yeah, I don't think it needs Emira
They did
written
this-
on the bottom.
They did this, there was a version, the 400 version of the Evora
Yeah.
had Lotus in like spaced out silver
Yeah, the
embossed
font, yeah.
letters
Mhm.
across the top of the center console, and it honestly looked like somebody had just gone to Halfords, got 5 letters and stuck them on themselves. It was absolutely horrible.
Yeah.
That falls into the same category for me, I'm afraid. So that's a bit of a
When
problem.
when I spend 60 grand on something, and bear in mind that I have literally never in my life spent 60 grand on anything, I usually remember what it is and don't need to be reminded when I'm using it.
Yeah.
You know, I can remember the brand name of my welder because it's Clark, and I don't need it written on the gun when I'm using it.
Yeah.
It just seems a bit much, you
It's
know.
a bit redundant. It looks cheap.
Why
So-
night raises and do you have night time on your laptop?
Maybe.
Night mode. Because I assumed
Hold,
that it
please,
was just
caller.
the color grading difference between
Yeah.
monitors.
Yeah, it's you do seem to have gone a little bit yellow tint now.
There we go. Well spotted, sorry. Right. So, just looking up at the headlining, we've got buttons on the headlining, which is all a bit weird for a Lotus. I can't make out what they are, but there are buttons up there, so I don't know what they do.
I would imagine. Well, there'll be map light for one.
Well, yeah, but there's like 4 or 6 buttons up there, so I think that might be the boot button. Maybe a few other
Potentially, yeah.
alternates.
Because imagine all
Which
the
is-
climate is going to be touchscreen,
Which is a bit kind of cool to have overhead buttons,
Annoying.
a bit airplaney.
Yeah.
So then, looking down at the center console, we've got a starter button with a red flippy poppy
arm the missiles.
on the missiles
Yes.
style thing. So that's kind of cool, but I'm not sure I'd necessarily want it in red. And
No.
we have a manual gear lever. So the story with the gearboxes.
They've made another there's a long time people have been saying that the manual sports car is dead.
Yes.
Because nobody's making one, and I did wonder whether or not this would be
Right.
a flappy paddle, because it would make sense. Like, I wouldn't hold it against them.
Yeah.
Going with a flappy paddle gearbox.
Yeah, exactly.
But an actual manual box.
Yep. So, the story with the gearbox is related to the powertrain. The Evora engine, the 3.5 Toyota lump that sits in the back of the premium versions of this car, the 80 grand version of this car,
Yeah.
is available with either the automatic, as in Slushbox 4-gear original automatic,
Oh.
or it's available with a manual.
No flappy paddle option whatsoever.
Hold.
For now, I suppose. Yeah, go on. They'll do an R.
The 4-pot, the Mercedes engine,
Right.
comes with a DCT.
Okay.
Right? So it falls down to technology, what was available, kind of fitting the shit in the car,
Yeah.
and the
As
fact that
they-
they are inheriting some stuff from the Evora. So,
Yeah, I
the
suppose.
£80,000 car in an auto has the older technology gearbox. Now it's
and the new
very
swanky
good.
Four-pot has the new swanky gearbox.
Yeah. So the 6-cylinder auto is a very, very good example of a non-DCT auto. It's been improved. It's been improved a lot over the years, and Lotus have individually tuned the shifts. It is quick on the shifts.
Yeah.
By reputation, I have driven one, but not for a long time. But the 4-pot gets the DCT. Now, again, it's the Mercedes engine and gearbox combo.
Yeah.
But it's been heavily worked by Lotus for this application. So everybody is kind of interested to see what they do with it, whether it is going to be all kind of artificial farts and...
I will put my money down right now and say that they're going to, probably in the big wing model that they inevitably release, have a flappy paddle 6-speed as a later option. Guaranteed.
Yeah, maybe so.
They'll probably put that in the 6-speed as this is the racing, this is the R, whatever they want to call it, down the line.
But the interesting thing is that means that effectively, as it's presented at the moment, if you want the auto, you probably buy the 4-cylinder car, which is 60 grand. Yeah. If you want the manual, you have to buy the expensive 6-cylinder car. And nobody's really sure which one of the two is going to be faster.
Yeah,
because
manual with
the
more power.
The 4-pot has been detuned to I think 350, and the 350, 360.
But that means people are just going to push that back up again.
Oh well, yeah. Aftermarket, it's going to go to 4 whatever, because it's exactly the same engine that's coming out of the AMG, A45 AMG, I think. So yeah. But the 6-cylinder, you're paying all that extra money to get the manual. You may, for a heavier engine, it may actually be slower.
Yeah.
It will probably almost certainly be slower to 60 in a manual than a 4-pot DCT, even with 50 brake horse or more, 50 or more brake horsepower less.
Yeah, it might have.
It'll pull away at the top end.
It'll probably have you in first gear because it has more power.
Yeah, and it'll just go.
But then the 4-pot will just eat away with DCT.
Yeah, so it just depends whether it can make 60 in first.
Interesting. Like the SD1. The SD1 can do 70 in first gear.
Yeah.
But it only has a 3-speed auto, so... You know.
My Exige would do 90 in second. But then that rev to like 8,300 or something.
90 is the...
I found a new dream car, by the way.
That's the Evora 410
that colour
GT. Yeah,
also,
it's nice, isn't it?
This one.
Oh yeah, he's happy. You
He's
see?
so happy.
He's not quite as happy as the first one, but he's pretty happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the... did you find the purple one?
Purple one is not there.
Ooh. Oh, the purple one's gone.
Yeah.
I mean, if you try Google Images for a purple Evora, you'll probably find it.
Yeah.
So what are we showing at the moment? Still the interior.
So right. So
just a couple of other things.
Let's config this up.
Well, hang on. No, a couple of other things to talk about. Oh, she's found it.
I think Yolanda has
Yolanda's
just found the...
tells me that she's just found the purple Evora with yellow calipers.
Do you know what I found that? I just googled
purple
Lotus Evora, and there are some interesting choices.
It doesn't look good in purple.
It does not look good in
There are not many cars that do work in purple.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one.
Ooh,
that's the one.
Hang on, I'm going to deep it for a moment.
It's like a Cadbury's with...
It's Cadbury purple.
It's Cadbury purple, but it's got bogies stuck on it. You know, it's pretty horrible.
I don't like
to be honest. It's amazing. Even with the blacked out roof and the blacked out under. So just using this as an example, you can see that same shape. Yeah. That sword blade shape going through the middle. It's exactly the same. Consistent design language. Anyway.
Yeah, that's...
Yeah, that is truly horrible. That's the one that I was thinking of. Thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, I did ask. It's my own fault. Right. Are we back on the interior shop?
We are back on interior.
So there's a couple more things to talk about here. We've been talking about how Lotus has been going a bit more premium. I think another thing where you see this is look at that air duct on the right hand side. I'm going to put money on the fact that that's either aluminium or possibly milled magnesium. That is an air duct fit for a £60,000 car.
Yes.
Now, in a previous Lotus, that would be plastic.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I'm fairly hopeful that it won't be in this one.
Yeah,
So
I
that's-
don't. I want that to be.
And certainly, you know, it looks custom fit. I think it. I mean, it does look a little bit awkward over there on the right hand side. It's maybe not the best of designs, but it's definitely custom.
I like
Definitely
that.
custom.
I like
Right,
it.
and then I've got one more thing
It's
to
a
say
good
about this
statement
interior look.
piece.
One more thing to say about this interior, which is the gear stick itself.
Mm.
So they're showing it here with the manual stick. The thing that I've heard, and I'm not sure, but I've heard it, is that this car is getting the exposed gear shift linkage from the later Exiges.
Okay, so,
So-
it might have a gated manual.
Yeah,
Ooh.
yeah. So Yolanda, can we
People are
have,
gonna-
can
they
we have
would-
gated manual?
Do you know what? They would be a
Exige.
fool not to do that if they
Having
could.
having got it to work and
Yeah.
having showed it in the Elise and the Exige, it would be insane to lose it
Yeah.
at this point, I would say, because it is a work of art. It is so beautiful.
Yeah.
And also it makes the clicky sounds.
Yes. Well, everybody goes wild for a gated manual. I mean, this
Yeah.
is one of the premiums on the Lamborghinis. Like a gated manual Lamborghini carries an enormous price tag increase just because of what it is.
Yeah.
Over and above the the automatic is obviously good already. It's
Yeah.
still a Lamborghini. It's still a Miura, whatever. It's still a
Aventador?
not Aventador, not Miura. What's the one I'm looking at?
Say
Gallardo. And the other.
that
and
old.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, the gated manuals are super rare.
Mhm.
Yes, as
No.
yes, yeah, gear stick is cold in the winter, as Aid says. That was
Oh,
that was
God, metal
that was
gear sticks,
Well,
yeah.
that was Heartland's complaint with the R8.
Yeah.
In the winter,
oh.
he needed a little cozy for it to stop. Yeah, there we go. That's the gated manual.
No, that's not what I was thinking of.
Oh, is there another one? I'll let you find the
da-da-da.
other one, and then I'll flick back.
No, you have pretty much the same images that I got when I.
It is this, that, this.
So this is what, the 380?
Yeah, no, it's on all of the later Elises and Exiges.
Okay.
That sexy piece of gorgeousness right there.
I mean,
so
yes.
the
The downside is
yes.
they won't be able to put that one in.
No, it will need to be
Because-
reworked because they've got too many other things going on around it.
Although because it is open underneath, so you lose that little storage cubby, which if that's got the power for phone charging in, you completely lose that.
You do, but I would still rather have one of those.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I don't think they'll put that in.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
It's open
so-
and it would work in the same way, so it's possible that they could, but I don't think they will
Yeah.
because they'd have to rework something else.
Yeah. So
They'd
at
have
the
to put-
moment there is space under there, so it's all a bit weird. Anyway, so I think that's probably what there is to say about the interior. So your options, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Ah, D8 it is then.
D8 it is.
Re-rolling ones. What colours?
Re-rolling ones. So you.
So what does
have-
it change? Just flip onto the red one or the white one or something,
ooh.
just for ease to see what actually changes. Oh, okay. So it's
So you're still retaining some black.
so it's the door cushions, middle of the
It's-
dash, and basically all of the seat upholstery.
Yeah, and I think we've got a separate option for the steering wheel.
Okay. See, I
So-
think
I reckon the stitching options would be the best.
I think
ones.
red with the red car would be far too much red. I
Oh
think.
god, yeah. I mean, you could do a red stitch.
Mm.
One, which
One?
is black.
I thought you said you were going to re-roll ones.
Oh yeah, I did. Two, which is black.
2, which is black leather. So we are black leather on the interior.
What are the stitching ones like? Because I think, as Yolanda said, I think the stitching ones are going to be the pro choice.
Red stitch.
A red stitch would work if you had a red car.
Alcantara with red stitch.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's quite subtle.
yeah. I think that's better than the. Is it half leather, half Alcantara, or Alcantara, depending on how you want to.
It looks like
pronounce
it.
it.
I couldn't tell you. So you've got black leather. Which,
Yes, as Aid says, the massive Lotus in the middle of the seat seems a bit unnecessary.
Yeah. Again, I don't need to be reminded what I'm sitting
Yes.
in.
Rarely have I forgotten what car I am sat
So
in.
you need to go back to your D6 and re-roll ones for your steering wheel.
All right, steering wheel options 3.
1, 2, 3. Oh, Oh no, hang on a sec. Re-rolling ones, that is going to be a black Alcantara steering wheel.
Yeah,
So
probably the right choice.
leather seats and Alcantara wheel.
Is that suede?
Kind of. It's a
That's
very,
super.
very low pile, though.
Mhm.
But it's super lightweight, which is a massive
Yep.
benefit.
Right, and then that was interior. That's all we've got for interior options.
That's literally it. Everything else, like, it has it.
Colours.
It has it or it doesn't.
Other. Right. So you can pick your engine V6
Yeah.
i4, and you can, if you're going engine V6, you can have 6-speed manual with Torsen type limited slip differential, or 6-speed auto. I was wrong, it's not 4-speed, it's 6-speed auto.
Oh,
if
that's
you
good.
go engine i4, you have double clutch 8-speed automatic. So,
Okay, so I guess we're picking engine first then.
all right,
1, 2, 3 is the 6. 4, 5, 6 is the 4.
sure,
V6 it is.
good.
And
right,
then
now you've just got to land on.
again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Good,
Yes.
excellent.
Manual.
Right, so we have made.
So we've made a manual V6
Yes.
red Emira
Yes.
with black wheels,
Black wheels.
black calipers.
Black
Did we have
calipers.
black calipers?
Yeah, we did.
We did put black calipers on.
I have to say, for something that we have genuinely rolled,
Genuinely rolled.
we have
yeah.
rolled up
Yeah.
an Emira, and it has actually come out really quite consistent.
Yeah. See, now going through these, you can go through this really quickly. I'm just going to like knock out exactly what I would have.
Right.
I
okay,
would
on.
go.
Blue.
Obviously, I'd go PedalBox blue.
PedalBox blue.
Yeah.
Black pack or no?
Full black pack.
Full black pack. Black roof.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wheels. Wheels. I would take the very bottom diamond cut ones.
The silver diamond cut.
Yeah, silver diamonds.
And your calipers are. Oh shit! Sorry, the colour's just fucked itself up.
Stop swearing. We'll get demonetized.
Sorry, YouTube. It's having a bit of a moment, I'm afraid.
My combination is just so good.
Yeah,
I've broken it.
yeah. So, but silver,
Okay,
wheels,
so
silver wheels, black roof,
bug
blue.
to report. Yellow calipers. Just
Yellow,
So the
yellow calipers.
So the interesting one with Lotus and yellow calipers is why it works so well is because they also have the yellow badges, and it adds a little bit extra to it. It doesn't just look like it's stuck out in the middle of nowhere.
There we go.
Oh, it's just certain angles.
What?
It's not
What?
managing to
What?
render properly.
Yeah, it's not quite managing to render.
Right,
So
okay.
that looks good.
Yeah, and then yellow calipers.
I will try for yellow calipers.
And then try re-render.
Or no. Oh, there it goes. Yep, there
Yeah,
it goes.
there we go.
Yep, there you go. Oh, blue, red, blue. It's flip paint.
It's the flipper. I mean, to be fair, it's as close to PedalBox orange as we're going to get.
Yeah.
There is
Yeah.
actually a little bit of that orange,
Yeah,
that
there you
red
go.
kind of in the top
There you
corner.
go.
So yeah, but yeah, I would.
It's very unhappy.
I would drive that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm sure you would.
Yeah, I would. I mean, you could force me. You know,
Yeah.
if you just threw me the keys to that car, I'd be all right. with that.
So you selected a V6. So the good news is, in theory, if you put down your £2,000 deposit with Jamie at Belling-Colville tomorrow,
Yes.
because they do still have build slots, you can have your car
Yeah.
at some point in 2022. But we don't really know yet.
At some point.
I've not seen anything that said when you can get.
Yeah.
So things to point out. That's the first edition versions, or the Founder Edition, or whatever it is they're calling it for them.
Buggy.
They're only doing V6s.
Oh,
For the
okay, fair
first
enough.
cars.
Right.
So the whole you can buy one for 60k is not true.
Yeah, not
until
right now.
Not right now.
Probably mid 2022, I would imagine.
Yeah, yeah. Remember that I said that they pulled out the Evora assembly line to make these.
Oh yes, yeah.
So everybody's asking, well, like if you've already ditched the Evora assembly line, which means that you can't make a final edition Evora.
Yeah.
How come you can't make the new Emiras already?
Yes.
So there's some concern about kind of delivery times and
that's a bit weird.
what's going on there. I
I
mean,
wonder how much stock of Evoras they have left.
we don't know. We don't know. But
Because they
they're
must
not.
have some.
Well, they must have some unsold.
But are they all allocated? Are they all
like with the
orders?
Elise and the Exige?
Mm.
The final edition versions were like 10 brake horsepower up. They were distinctly different cars and marketed with a premium that reflected that. With the Evora, they're just letting it fade away, which is a real shame.
Interesting.
Real shame.
Right, you configure up your one in green, because I have to nip to the loo. Problems of a
So I
of a
just
live
discovered how
broadcast.
expensive Alcantara is.
Alcantara is ridiculously expensive. Yes,
Yeah.
is
So
it
for
like
50 centimetres of a 1.4, so 1.4 metres is a typical bolt of a length of fabric.
1.4 meters? So that's what, almost the length of this table wide,
Yeah.
right? Okay, so
But
with this
bear in mind
wide,
that you would normally, if you were sewing, you would normally cut down the length.
you would cut that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you'd be cutting down the bolt. Sure. Okay.
For
So the
50
roll is
centimetres.
this long,
Yeah.
and you're going 50 centimeters, which again is about the width of this table, probably. So
How much
this
do you reckon?
much. Oh, I don't know. Couple £100.
It is only £50.
Oh,
for
only
50
£50.
centimetres. Only.
£50 for 50 centimeters. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, it's an expensive material. Is it artificial or is it a real
So it's a sustainable artificial
leatherette substitute,
suede
basically?
like microfiber pine.
Yes. Okay, so it's kind of a clever
But it's their
artificial
trademark.
leather with and it is trademark, and it's been around for a long time, and it's always been associated with high-end sports applications. I think it has really good like sweat resistant properties or something. So Adrian told me to spec up mine.
Assuming that we don't break the system again.
Yeah, I think it may be a little bit unhappy with me. The thing is, the dark verdant is really good, and I am a sucker for green cars, but you want it with brown seats. You need brown leather. This is why I can't have a green car, Adrian.
Oh.
You haven't got an option for brown leather seats.
Ooh.
You
Yeah, I mean
need-
that
you need
is
a nice dark caramel
that's
interior.
the
if,
combo,
If you're
yes.
going to be wearing driving gloves,
yes, obviously.
on your way to the golf club,
Obviously.
because
Not that that's ever, does it have a boot?
yes, and it fits a set of golf clubs or a carry-on luggage.
Good God.
Yes.
Cup
Like I said,
holders
Yeah. So I think I will probably.
and golf. I mean, this just seems like decadence.
I mean-
on Lotus's part at this point, they're
Yeah.
just.
How to flock dashboards. So I did stumble upon a website where I could pay for a 4-day course in how to do
yellow.
car upholstery. So
Ooh.
that is
Yeah, you see
that
yellow
is
with
on the card.
yellow with yellow calipers. You know,
That does
So-
look-
it works.
I have also, in my exploration of Alcantara on the internet,
Yes.
found a website that sells automotive textiles,
Wow.
including headlining, leather, everything.
Nice.
Excellent.
Because
You are-
headlining, you need the little pinholes all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I bought a headliner for the Thunderbird.
I couldn't remember if you bought one. Yeah.
I did, because I have all the ribs in the Thunderbird, so I'd have to have one made. But conveniently, John, that we saw in LA when we went out there, and got a load of other parts when I did a massive order, and was like, please do not ship these anywhere, I will come and collect, I'm in the UK. And I got a quizzical email back going, really? You're coming? Okay. And I explained that we were coming to LA and all the rest of it. He's, oh yeah, that's absolutely fine, saw his car.
Oh, he was the man with the
Yes.
the Mama Chihuahua.
Exactly.
Aww.
So yes, and he happened to have, because he was like, is there anything else you need? Like, what do you have? I need many things. And yeah, I bought a full perforated leather headliner with all the ribs in correct and everything for, I think, $60. Or it might have been $80.
Pretty
either
good
way.
deal. Pretty
But
good deal.
yeah, John, as in Mad Scientist Garage, John,
Yeah.
he was there with us as well. I was like, oh, I haven't got enough cash on me. He's like, I will chip into that.
Good man.
So yeah.
£10 a metre for perforated white headlining.
Mm.
It's not bad. The problem with headlining is the amount of work it takes to make it actually fit.
Yeah.
That's like being able to do headliners. The materials to make a headliner are pretty cheap. The labour and the skill is why they are so expensive to have made for what they are. It's, you know, you're talking about something which is the better part of 1.5 metres by maybe 2 metres, maybe 2.5, depending on the size of the car. And yeah, it's just mind-bogglingly difficult.
Yeah, because
unless you have a form for it to go into.
Because it's got to sit inside that shell and somehow retain
upside
tension
down. Yeah.
upside down by just hooking into nothing.
Which is why the Mark II one that I had, that's a big hardboard thing that kind of is pressed into shape and then fits up into it.
Yeah.
The same went for, what else was that? The A3 that we stripped. That was exactly the same. That was a big headliner. It was just a pressed thing that fits in. Yeah, most of them seem to go kind of like pressed board and then things go on rather than having ribs anymore. Just it's cheaper, easier, faster. Way less work all told.
Yep.
But yes, we should probably get on, at least in part, to the title.
But I've barely begun to talk about this car.
What we should probably do, like each month, we could do a deep dive into somebody's configurator and do like the Aston Martin, the DBX one or something.
I mean, you say a deep dive. So we've done it end to end.
We've done it end to end on
broken
this.
We've broken it horribly.
Yeah, we have.
Because now we've got cars that change colour when we spin them round.
Yeah.
But that's it. So we've got no options on the in-car entertainment at all.
Yeah.
We've got no.
That doesn't surprise me.
No
with
packs,
having...
no functionality differences.
Yeah.
Got no options on anything like
No power
reversing
options,
cameras. No power
I
options,
have to assume it just has a reversing camera anyway.
I think basically for these first edition cars, they're just going to load them up with everything.
Yeah.
And then you'll probably see the configurator change.
Yeah.
When they move into booking slots for the later cars, you'll have some more options.
Yeah.
I suspect.
As we said before, you'll have the race one with the Porsche system, where we take things out and charge you more, and then charge you to add them back in again.
And so, I mean, like the other big thing with this car is how much it weighs.
Yeah. I mean, what did you say? It was 1,400 kilos? Or...
14. I want to say 1437, something like that.
It's fat for a Lotus.
Okay, it's fat for a Lotus, but it's it's bang on the same as the Cayman.
Yes. Yeah. It's not fat for a modern car. By the time you put interior, crash safety, and things like that in, they're all. You're never going to see a car under a ton ever again.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Not without serious compromise elsewhere and going for a physically smaller engine or anything like that. Or all carbon fibre. That's the other way you can do it.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about 6 to 7 figures.
Well, I mean, this is the thing. The current the 410 GTs are going for 80-90 grand. And they've got quite a lot of carbon on them. So this one at the moment doesn't have any, as far as I can see, unless some of the panels are carbon and that's not been revealed. So if they carbon this one up, they can probably get that weight down by a fair bit, like carbon roof, carbon wings, etc., etc.
Yeah.
It's going to lose. It's got to lose like 10 or 15 kilos, surely.
So the first thing that came to mind was the Alpha 4C, which is a full carbon tub.
Yep.
4-pot engine.
Yep.
And that is. I mean, what year is that? So the 4C was 2013 to 2018. So I mean, you still can't buy a new one at this point because it's out. But it's the most recent thing that's not a McLaren with a full carbon tub that I can actually think of off the top of my head. And it weighs in
about
895 dry.
Right. Okay.
Full wet, it is
probably about around 1,000.
940, and then the Spider is 1,050 dry, so it's 155 kilos.
Yeah.
To add convertible.
Oh, to go convertible with it.
To go convertible, yeah. And it adds fully laden up. It adds about 45 kilos with probably water and oil.
Yeah.
I would guess that is.
Yeah, so it's and this is why there's been complaints about like it's not a real Lotus. Simplify and add lightness.
It's not a Lotus because it doesn't weigh under a ton. Sure. Unfortunately, that Lotus market is very, very small, and it's not enough for the company to survive.
This is a reality. This is going to sell better than the car that.
And as you said, they can still do a light version with a carbon roof, carbon wings, carbon other stuff, strip all other things out. They can pull 100 kilos out of that.
It'll probably come. It'll be below 1,400, I'm sure.
Yeah. I would expect probably 13s for a complete bare bones.
Yeah.
like race, not race, like actually caged up, capable to enter into a
Because
competition.
that
But
starts to add weight back in again.
the road going race version, which I know sounds like a bit of a weird one, but yeah, that.
The GT3 equivalent.
Yes, which has no nav. I mean, to be fair, the nav probably doesn't add very much, and they wouldn't be able to get rid of the nav other than the GPS module, because the touchscreen also controls so many of the systems, so they're kind of stuck with that.
Yep.
So there's not actually as much that they can get rid of. Aircon,
Yeah.
lose the compressor, lose the pipework, lose the condenser.
10 kilos maybe,
Yeah.
if that.
No, probably a little bit more.
I mean, you can probably get, like, you can probably shave half a kilo off the wheels.
you just got mag and
Exactly.
go probably take more than that off, significantly more. I
Kilo,
mean, those
kilo a corner?
probably even more than that. When you consider the ones that I had on the kit car before,
Yeah.
they were, I want to say they were 15 kilos for the rim for those 9-spoke TT ones,
Yeah, okay.
and that was in like plain alloy.
Mm-hmm.
And the mag ones that I had briefly were 9.3 for a 18-inch but 50% wider wheel. Or was it 10.5? It might have been 10.5, so it's 225.
Right, okay, so you're saving what?
285.
So you're saving over 3 kilos per corner.
And
And it's unsprung mass.
which is worth 10 to 1
Yes.
by some comparison. So, you know, on our car, if I'd been able to get another pair of those mag wheels cheaply, because I wasn't going to pay $1,000 for them, if I'd been able to get those, it would have been great, because we would have had what would it have been, 30 kilos just for the wheels, and I think tyres were another 10 per corner. So you're talking about wheels and tyre package that comes in at 30 kilos, 60 kilos for the wheels plus tyres. So you're talking about 100 kilos of wheels.
Yeah.
In the TT ones, which were, you know what? There's a part of me in the back of my head that says they were even heavier than that.
That is pig iron.
I might have to look it up. But yeah, so Allegritas. It wasn't the Superlegras. It was the Allegritas that I had 2 of very briefly, and they were They came with 285s to go on, or I got some 285 to go on the back, but they were 10 Js, as opposed to the I want to say 7.5 or 8 Js I had in the TT. And yeah, it was. They could probably simplify a load of stuff out of the exhaust, because you go from whatever that exhaust is to a titanium one.
Yeah.
And you should probably save 10 kilos,
as
Emmy said.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to have a look up.
I mean, it is nice of them to name the car so conveniently for her. Are you looking up those wheels to find out how much they weigh?
Yeah.
You're not going to let it lie, are you?
No.
Must know.
You've met Aid, right?
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
That's all the bigger ones, 18 mm.
You've been too long. You've been caught by a wandering monster.
Oh no!
It's a gelatinous cube. You're in trouble now.
It must be.
that
Sorry,
weighs
okay,
down,
it must be more than that, because the 195 package 16-inch 6 spokes weighs 16 kilos, and a Pilot Sport weighs the better part of 10. When you're up at like sort of 265, 75, 85 kind of region. Yeah. TT wheel weight, Mark 1 wheel weight. There we go.
The gelatinous cube is eating your face.
They are 45 pounds per wheel with a wheel and tyre package, which is the better part of 22 kilos all up.
Yeah.
And that's not even the super heaviest one. That's the 5-spoke, which were actually lighter than those, because the 9-spoke ones were just weirdly heavy. Oh, it was the Avis, wasn't it? Avis. Oh, okay. Failed to type. Yes, there we go. 17. So this is only the 17-inch Avis.
Mm-hmm.
21.5 kilos with a 225 tyre on it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's well up there. At the sort of 23, 24 kilo for the other ones. And it's around about the 20 mark. So you're talking about shaving 5 kilos off by going mag on each corner of unsprung mass.
Yeah.
And that's just going to a generic one. If I had 60 grand, it wouldn't go on a Lotus. Version 6 SDI Type R Limited. Yes, probably right. But then again, it also wouldn't handle like a Lotus.
Yeah, this is true. I've driven both.
But yeah, it is nice. Like it's very, very nice.
I mean,
I like the look. They've done a solid job on that.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be their last internal combustion engine car.
Yeah, they're going all
So
electric.
Everything after this, they're going to skip petrol electric hybrids and they're going straight to full electric.
Yeah.
So this has got to take them through now for the next probably.
I mean, based on their
5-8 years, it'll get.
I was going to say, based on their previous, it should last them 20 to 25 years. But by the same token, they're banning petrol cars from 2030 or 35, isn't it?
Do you think they have not already thought about how they put an electric?
Oh, of course they have.
Yeah,
of course they have.
Exactly. So
100%.
What you'll find is probably
the electric version of this will be
time,
first.
In 5 years' time, you'll get an electric version of this.
I bet it'll be 3 years to the electric version of that. It'll be 2025. There'll be an electric version of that. After they've done a couple R versions and sports versions of this one, they'll drop one every year from now on.
Yeah, probably.
Which will probably be 2022 will be this. 2023 will be a boost, an improved one. 2024 will be another improved petrol, either V6 or 4-pot, one way or the other, and then 2025 will be electric.
Or the convertible version.
Or a convertible, yeah.
Because again, we don't know what they've done with the sills, etc.
Yeah.
How they've arranged that.
That could be 2023 then.
Yep.
Drop the convertible early, get it through, and then 2025
Well,
probably for a 2026 delivery.
Yeah.
will be the
that was the
electric
big complaint
versions.
about the Evora, as we said. So.
Yeah.
So the last petrol Lotus is looking pretty good.
They're going out on a good bang.
Yeah.
Let's face it.
And the reason we're talking about this today and this week is because of Goodwood. Obviously, Lotus is the...
They're the headline.
Yeah, they're the headline brand at Goodwood.
Yeah.
And it's really good to see some good petrol sports cars coming out new on the market. The other one that we could probably spend just as long talking about is the GR86.
Which is the GR86? Oh, the Supra.
The GR8...
No.
No, the GR86 is the successor to the BRZ GT86.
Oh, okay. It's not out yet, though, is it?
It's being launched at Goodwood.
Yeah, we'll do that next month then.
So two absolutely fantastic drivers' cars. The GR86 has got the 2.4 litre naturally aspirated boxer engine.
Yeah.
Answers the question, why is the GT86 so slow?
Yes.
Why has it got a massive torque dip in the middle of it? They fixed all of this apparently.
Yes.
So we've got a new.
They've fixed it with another engine.
Yeah.
Basically. I mean, the GT86, I don't know if you ever saw the Mighty Car Mods one when they did a load of fettling and put a new exhaust on and all the rest of it, and they started it, and they just looked at each other like, what have we done? We've ruined this car, because the exhaust note was so bad. But you could see, as they cranked it for the first time, and it kind of farted its way through, Mugamai, they're just like,
what have we done? It fixed itself though, didn't it? It was just the gaskets burning.
No, it was terrible.
Was it?
No, it just sounded awful.
Oh dear.
Because they took a resonator out.
Oh.
When they put the new manifold on, they put a long a multi-branch manifold on. It removed a resonator, and it just didn't sound. It was raspy and just it was bad.
Yeah.
But you could see it in their eyes, like, oh god. All the comments on the video is like, they've ruined that. You can see it in their eyes when they start it up. They know they've just ruined it, and it's going to have to be put back because they're never going to want to drive it with this god awful exhaust in. I don't doubt it at all.
But you see,
it's just terrible.
Yeah. So, but the GR86 is another car with a manual option.
Yeah.
A car where hopefully they're going to sell most of them in manual.
Yeah. I mean,
so you know the manual is not dead yet, which is good news.
No, it is good. I think there's going to be a lot. I wonder how many electric cars are going to end up with gearboxes in at some point to some degree, because they don't really need them per se, but there is something to be said for it. Like it's an element of engagement that people want, and is that going to just fall by the wayside?
Well, so with electric cars, gearboxes offer interesting possibilities because they do allow you to play tunes on how you deliver your torque.
Yeah.
And it means that you can if you've got 2 gears instead of 1, you can have the engine working across half the rev range, or you can double the effective rev range.
Yes.
Because you've got a gear change option.
Yeah.
We can the complexity is though that you can get rid of that one and probably that one.
There we go.
The complexity is that you're adding weight, you're adding tricky processes to.
So I should let the director actually do it rather than me trying to second guess.
To what should otherwise be a really, really simple arrangement. It's just direct drive motor, wheels. If you're going to put something in the middle there, it's got to bring so much to the party to make sense in terms of weight, efficiency, etc., etc., etc. They haven't really got it yet.
No, there's no.
But there is some interesting tech coming.
I mean, you end up at a point
Have you seen
like tyre grip being just the limiting factor.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
And sort of what because you can deliver so much more torque than so many tyres can actually put down. You end up in a position of what's the point of having a faster accelerating gear on the electric motor? Because
well, you end up at the Tesla solution of the only way I can go faster is put rockets on the back.
Literal rockets.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. The SpaceX pack, which I have questions. I want to see it. I ain't gonna pay for it, but I definitely want to see one go down the track somewhere. I want to see. I mean, want
it's
to
like
see
1.1
or 1.2 seconds.
But
60.
Tesla are cheeky. That's 1.1 after
From a rolling
rollout.
start.
It's after rollout, and the problem is that rollout becomes an ever increasing amount of the actual time.
Yes.
Because rollout is a distance measurement, isn't it? It's like half a turn of the wheels or something.
I think so.
You should know this. You're the American track drag strip lunatic.
Yes, but
so tell me what rollout is.
I don't know.
I think it's distance related. It's either one complete revolution of the wheels or it's half a revolution. Something.
I can only imagine it would be distance related.
Right. So the issue is that in that single turning of the wheels, the Tesla is going so fast.
Yeah.
It's done. Somebody's probably answered this.
Rollout is cheating.
Yes. Yes, it is. It's cheating. And even worse, Tesla quote. See, that's how upsetting it is.
Yeah.
For the rocket pack, whatever it's called, car.
Yeah.
They quote the time after rollout.
Yeah.
For the standard version, they quote it from 0 without the rollout to make the fast one look faster.
Oh, of course,
and
obviously.
That is
marketing.
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 All big
honestly
pile of marketing.
Marketing is the worst. But yes, we
Apologies
should.
to any marketing.
We probably should go through some of the shows that we went
wanted
through
to do
last
some
night.
stuff before I turned up and just like,
we
hello, this is the Lotus.
So So I did a nice big fat order. In fact, the most important part of this, because everything else is just gravy, on this box that finally arrived from Texas after I finally managed to get it shipped to Texas, which was a chore and took 2 weeks in itself just to arrange, because the DHL sent me all the paperwork, and they sent Rock, to be fair, they sent Rock all the paperwork. Rock got it all to me. I labelled it up, took it to DHL, and DHL went, oh no, we haven't got any way bills. Like, it's not being imported, it's coming back, it's warranty repair. Oh, then you need a customs pro forma. And they went, oh. DHL didn't give us one, so I didn't get one, and I could have made one if I'd had all of the information, but I didn't, so I had to cancel that, and eventually I shipped it by UPS, which cost me about 30 quid more than it did the other way, which is a bit of a shame. But on the flip side, it is still cheaper than buying a new, well, I say a new brake booster. This is basically a new brake booster. It's cheaper than buying a brake booster off the shelf for $700.
Okay.
Yes, I was somewhat against that. This rebuild cost me, well, it was about $90-something for the rebuild. And then shipping back, I honestly don't know because it all just gets kind of rolled in. I suspect it was probably in the 50-60 quid range.
Yep, cool.
And it was going to be about 70-80 quid to get it shipped out, which again wouldn't have been bad, which compared to $700 off the shelf plus shipping, which would have inevitably been another probably $100 minimum. Yeah. So we can install this and actually put the brakes on the Thunderbird back together again, and it is all lovely. Oh yeah, it's got some weight to it. Its shipped weight was something like 6.5 kilos.
Okay.
So it's not going in an Emira, I can tell you that.
Yeah.
But it is the big Ford 9-inch brake booster, not the 9-inch diff, although I do have a 9-inch diff in the car as well. So yeah. The big problem I had was that neither of these two pins actually connected to anything. They both just fell out. And from what I can tell, only the one on the other side is supposed to be completely loose.
Right.
And that one is connected to the diaphragm in the centre. It's annoying because the only thing that was wrong with the original brake booster was that this pin didn't connect to anything. It has a tiny little clip, and it's literally a one-way. You engage it and it clips into place, and then if you pull it out, you've ruined the clip and you need a new clip to put on, because I opened it up and inside was clean, there was no brake fluid in it, there was no staining, it was absolutely glorious. So I suspect it's had a rebuild once before, and it just hadn't been put back together, or alternately the little clip had broken, so
worked itself.
So that can go back in now and we can finish rebuilding the brakes, which I think we started doing September last year, something like that. Yeah. And we can put so many more things.
September last year? Don't you mean September the year before?
No.
Do you?
No, we did. No, we. I'm pretty sure we stripped the.
I thought I remembered doing some stuff on that pre.
Oh no, we did. Yeah, we did rear brakes.
Ah, okay. That's
whereas the front brakes we tore apart, and then went, while we're in here, we're going to put a new master cylinder on, etc., 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 and that kind of escalated now into most of a front end rebuild. Yolanda is just about to dash past the camera now. So yes, so this is the precious.
So
which
before that goes away, I'm showing my ignorance here, but you need to explain to me in
put the box somewhere, or you put the box
I put the box.
Oh right, okay.
You need to explain to me in less than 60 seconds what that is and how it does what it does.
So this pulls a vacuum from the inlet.
When you say that pulls a vacuum, it is connected.
It's connected to
which
vacuum,
comes from the engine,
and which is comes from the engine. And when you push on this part here with the pedal, this goes up against the firewall. You push on the pedal, that pushes in, and then you have a vacuum assist pulling the diaphragm in this way that actuates the piston. And this pushes onto the master cylinder where the actual piston is, and that operates the rest of the brakes. In theory, assuming I've got all of my lines done properly, and assuming I have all the right parts in, and assuming I can bleed it properly, etc., etc., etc. Which I should be able to, but I'm sure it's going to be a massive, massive pain. So I can go that way, and then I can unpack all of the things. Makes an ass out of you and me. I mean, this is the other thing I mentioned yesterday. I got a magnet. Rock Auto do this nice thing where when you place an order to them, I'm going to have to throw the top cam on for this, you get a magnet with your order, which is really nice. I'm not sure if that's actually in focus. I can't remember where I put this focus plane. It might be.
Yeah, that looks about right.
But one way or another, I got a magnet with it, and it's a nice little thing. And there is a collector series of these. So this is an Edsel convertible, which is all nice. And in the brake booster, I got another one. This is a Firebird. So these are all ones that basically customers have bought parts for and then sent a picture in, and then they put them on a magnet.
Cool.
And you can keep adding to them. And I seem to recall when I got the first one of these boxes, it already had some pieces in. So this is a Saab that somebody has fixed up with Rock Auto parts. They do all makes, everything that's sold.
Sure.
And then from previous orders, there is a TR7 wedge convertible.
Oh wow! In a passing
in kind of
that's a lime green,
70s lime green yellow affair. This is Dimitri's Volga.
I'm sorry.
It's a guy called Dimitri who owns it, and that's his Volga.
Sure.
Peter had a Mazda.
Okay.
David has a Corvette, which is clearly the right answer.
Oh, yes.
And Andy had a Buick. So I have 8 of these. Now the concerning fact is on things like the Buick here
233
and this Mazda, 239.
You're going to have to you're going to have to buy a lot of parts to get the whole set.
So I have a lot to go through. I'm not going to be running out. Now, I'd like to believe that Rock have an idea of which ones I have ordered.
You're going to get duplicates.
Because
sorry.
I have no duplicates.
This is Panini sticker rules.
I have
You're going to have
duplicates so far, and I want to know if there is like a trading system. But at the moment, I'm covering the fridge, because I haven't really got anything usefully magnetic in here to put them on. These 2 tyres are going to be going away soon because they fit very nicely onto my daily, and that has some slightly bald tyres on the very back. The very outer ridge here is completely smooth, so it's still legal because it's more than 75%. The inner edge is fine, but the outer edge...
Come the winter, you're not going to want that.
No. So these are going to go on, which are some part ones, but I mean they have... the better part of, well, this one that you can't see underneath the table, and this one are about 5mm, and the other 2 are 4s, so they'll be going back on. But yeah, so that's the most important
that's the big
part.
bit. That's the biggest box.
On top of that,
automatically the best bit.
Shock absorbers. Admittedly, I can't remember whether I ordered fronts or rears now, because I'm pretty sure it needed... Oh, it just says shock absorber, which
Have
is
you opened this yet?
less than helpful. No, I didn't bother opening those. I just popped them out. So I have, conveniently and sensibly, a pair of shock absorbers.
Right. Monroe OES Spectrum.
Yes.
Shocks and struts.
One of the next big things that I need to do on it, in order, before I can actually take it out and drive it somewhere, I need to drop the fuel tank, which is going to be a chore, because you have to drop that from underneath the bottom of the car, which means a lot of stuff in behind the seat to disconnect the fuel pump, the fuel sender, and the lines come out the top, right at the top of the tank, which is really annoying, and then drop it down. But if I'm doing that, I decided, for the sake of it, I might as well buy
a fuel pump.
A fuel pump.
Seems good.
So I have a mechanical fuel pump.
As in...
It's a mechanical fuel pump.
Hand cranked.
Yeah. Essentially, there is a lobe on the camshaft, and the lobe on the camshaft taps the arm. The arm moves the diaphragm. The diaphragm pumps as it goes through.
So...
So that was...
Yep.
Oh, not shipped on that order. It must be on the other order, which is down here. But yeah, I have a feeling it was on some sort of offer. Yeah, that fuel pump was $30, so I was like, yeah, okay, I might as well. That seems totally reasonable.
Okay, so more diaphragms basically, because it's clearly just moving a diaphragm up and down there. There'll be a pair of non-return valves in there, in and out. Yeah,
and that's it. It's super simple.
That's amazing.
But it's super simple enough that I suspect it will probably die. So I've decided it was worthwhile getting another one, so we can do a little bit of engine overhaul when we refresh.
I do like the branding they've got on these. The safety triangle. Steering, stopping, stability. It's better than the. What were the Chinese struts that you bought?
This one here. Yes, the Chinese struts that I got for the Golf and for the kit car, admittedly, sort of as a temporary thing to work with, were the coil covers.
Coil covers.
Yeah, not coil overs, coil covers.
Coil covers.
Yeah, sold them on in the end. I think they cost, all told, I think they cost me less than 20 quid to have for about 18 months and mock some stuff up with, and then I changed them.
Yeah.
For something much more useful. So yeah.
Fair enough.
Now so that I can see. So I said this yesterday as well, but I think it's worth repeating how utterly insane the American system is. Not because of these are headlight adjusters, because mine are rock solid with rust. There is absolutely no way I'm going to be able to do anything with this.
Okay.
Yes, well, Emmy, yes, like the fuel pump can absolutely be modernised. You put an electric fuel pump in, but meh. Then I have to run more wiring, and I really don't like wiring at the best. I'm doing enough of that right now.
So instead you have like basically a pecking chicken.
Yeah.
It's one of the like, a nodding donkey or pecking
basically
chicken type
that.
things.
It worked from the factory, and it's apparently good for 315 horsepower, and I know the mechanical ones will actually do more than that anyway, so meh. If it works, it works. I'll run with it. But these are little headlight adjusters, 2 per side, and they adjust the angle of the 7-inch sealed beam headlights, which were apparently mandated until something like 1986. They were mandated, they had to have they had to have square headlights that were completely sealed beam units, that were rectangular, realistically, not square, up until 1986 on every car sold in the American market, which is why the Mark I Sirocco that was sold in America had twin round headlamps, and the ones in Europe had a single square unit, but the American ones had 2 round 7-inch headlamps, and up until the 1970s it was mandated 7-inch round headlight, and that was all you were allowed to put on the front of a car.
Weird.
Which is why like the Stingray and some of the others have pop-up lights that come up. That was perfectly fine, but if you wanted to do anything else, you had to have round or square headlamps or rectangular headlamps, and that is utterly wild. The Ford Taurus, the 86 Ford Taurus, I think it was 86, was the first car to have streamlined headlamps in America. And it was like a sea change of styling, and Ford basically lobbied to get square ones because they were sick and tired of the round ones that they'd had literally since the 30s and the 40s. I think it was 46 they ended up mandating the seal beams, something in that region. I don't know why that sticks in my mind. And then in the 70s they went to square because Ford lobbied and went, this is ridiculous. And they went, I suppose you can have square, but it still has to be a full sealed beam unit. And then, the 86 Taurus was when they changed. And you could have a streamlined thing. You could put them behind Perspex, I guess, but you couldn't do anything else.
I was going to say, things like Plymouth Roadrunner had...
They folded away.
Poppies?
No, what
about like the Barracuda that has the thing with the
that's fine. You can hide them.
Yeah.
But they still had to be the round.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. Weird. Such a backwards way of thinking. It was unreal. So yeah, that will sort my headlight alignment.
Seems good.
A thermostat, back to my least favourite job in the world. Yeah. I don't think.
Do you need to borrow my circlip pliers?
Probably. No, Chris did actually get some, so we've got some.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know whether or not it needs a thermostat, but for the sake of
exactly. Have parts
$5, and
have parts in stock.
I normally try and order as many things as I can that I need, because Rock have a lot of different warehouses, so I normally add as much as I want into the basket, and then I thin down things, because they do very conveniently list it by like warehouse A, warehouse B, warehouse C, etc. So you can thin things down based on the stock of what you want and need to get the right thing, which is very, very convenient. So I normally try to save myself some shipping and just get things from one given warehouse. Speaking of Moog, anti-roll bar bushings, because my anti-roll bar might as well be just rattling at this point.
That is a very thin anti-roll bar.
Yes.
That's a 14, 16
bit
mil.
more than that. I think it's about an 18.
18 mil anti-roll bar for a car that weighs 2.5 tons.
No, it's under 2 tons, but it's just built like a boat, and it handles like a boat, and it wallows like a boat. So
she blows.
Yeah. Well, the only boat that rolls less than that is the Ever Given, when it was stuck in the Suez Canal and it couldn't roll.
Do you remember when Randy Do you remember when
anywhere
Randy
at all.
had completely broken struts at the front?
Oh, so
and
good.
he used to just kind of like
Yeah.
woo!
So
Whenever you accelerated, it felt like you were
just you
how
lift
about
off
coming up
slightly,
onto the
yeah.
plane? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it was an interesting one. It just kind of surfed up, and it would never settle all the way down. So you had a bit of air underneath at that
Yeah.
point. So it would just come up and then just settle, and you'd go along and dive down under braking. Yeah, we fixed that. These I've completely forgotten what these are. These are tie rod adjusters. Now there is a critical failure that I've made here. It could have actually been because they were out of stock of one, I must admit.
tie
but I
rod
have-
adjusters.
That is the tie rod adjusters that go on each end of a tie rod.
Okay, seems reasonable.
And you can see
So this is the
that goes on the end of the rack.
this is the
basically.
screwed section.
And this, so here is a tie rod.
Yep, sure.
Now the downside is I only ordered one. And I think it was because they were out of stock, which is the downside. But I believe they're universal. They're
Yeah.
completely non-sided because they are
They
identical.
are straight.
So I
as
am-
They are.
Very much hoping that at least one of mine is in passable condition,
Yeah.
or with that I can look and try and see if there are any bushes around that I can make work. Now we have the stupid part, because that is a Moog drop link, and that is a Moog drop link. And unfortunately, that is also a Moog drop link. That is another Moog drop link. Because I vividly
Right.
remember adding the two different ones into the basket, and then subsequently checked out with all four of them in, and there are only two on the car. It has no rear anti-roll bar because it's a beam. So yeah, I have four of these.
Oh well.
And worse than that, I seem to recall I have four identical ones, albeit I've received, because what's the part number on the end of that? K700.
534.
Ah, well, I indeed have four identical drop links then, rather than two different types. I did remember to remove the 7-inch ones and keep only the 6 1/4s. And I now have four of them, which, yeah, bugger.
Oh well.
On the flip side, they were $4 a piece, so I'm hardly bleeding out of that. You know, that's about £3.50 each. So I've had worse days where I have made bigger mistakes. But,
Okay, so confusingly. Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm sorry.
so there's one of each to compare.
Yeah, no, that's fine. So
The only difference, when you actually look at them, the only difference is the plastic. These
No,
are
I'm-
slightly translucent,
yeah.
and these are completely
Okay.
opaque. I'm just going to put them on
So-
there and swap over the camera. So that is it. Yeah, that's in frame.
So yeah, there's two slightly different packages. Blah 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 blah. But I'm just interested. They are both K700 534s.
Yeah.
And then we have some stuff in different languages. And
Yep.
on this box here,
Blue box, yes.
the blue box,
Yeah.
it says link kit, kit d'articulation, so
Yeah.
French,
Yeah.
articulation kit,
Yeah.
repuestos varia,
Yeah.
which I could not identify the language or indeed the meaning.
Probably Spanish.
Spanish.
Probably Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost certainly.
So, and then it says made in USA, fabric or USA, hecho on USA.
Yeah.
So okay, so it is
USA
hecho. Okay, right. Leonardo, you're doing the Spanish bits. Now look at this one, right?
Yeah.
The yellow box.
This is link kit.
Link here. It says repuestos varia.
Yeah.
It says made in USA.
Yeah.
Then it says in French, kit d'articulation.
Yeah.
What does it say under that?
Fabrique aus.
Fabric
yeah.
or EU.
Oh, this is E dot dash U dot.
Yeah.
It has a
So in American,
Yeah.
it says made in USA.
Yeah.
In French, it says made in Europe.
No, it says Fabrique aux États-Unis.
Oh, E dot dash U
Yeah.
dot.
E dot dash U dot.
États-Unis.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. I thought it was just like,
No.
you know, telling the French that it was made in France and telling the Americans it was made in America. Fair enough.
On the go, mobile en el camino. I can't remember which way around these were, so we'll deal with that when we fit them. But yeah, that is literally the only difference between those two is the colour of the plastic. But they're both Moogs. They're both the same part number.
Mhm.
They are, to all intents, absolutely identical to one another, aside from
Yeah.
plastic colour.
It's just
It's really
probably just different batches.
Really, really weird. Whew. Excuse me.
Yeah.
I really shouldn't be yawning. I haven't done
Well,
anywhere
I've
near
done
enough today. But yeah, that's so that's all the
That is
Thunderbird
a lot of
parts.
parts.
So hopefully this weekend there is going to be a lot of Thunderbird building because we've done a lot of fleet recently. We've done a lot of the kit car recently and no fleet whatsoever. Notably because the Golf needs the bottom end rebuilding on the engine after we ran it dry of oil accidentally. But to do that, I have to have enough space in the garage to do it, which means the garage needs to be tidy, but more importantly, there needs to be not another engine in there on the engine crane, which meant that the engine had to go back into the kit car. So that's now in.
Oh, is it in?
It's in now. It went
Right,
in. It'll be coming out in the episode that's about to go out this weekend, so this Sunday's episode.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, I already spoilt it yesterday, to be fair. So,
Yeah, no
to
one
be
was
fair,
watching
only like
yesterday.
3 people saw that though, so whatever. So yeah, the engine's in. We finished up doing some more wiring and a bunch of other bodywork stuff. I've made a commitment to do one bodywork panel every single episode as we go on, because otherwise I'm just going to sit and stress and just keep second guessing myself and never make anything.
Yep.
So yeah, the rear quarters are 3/4 done now, I guess. The top, the bottom, and the front half of the rear quarter.
Yep.
Wow.
Wow.
Because I owned once, broke the seal. The top part needs to go on, but we can't do that until we've made sure we've got everything inside there, because if we need to weld, we need better access. So that's going to be one of the latter parts to go on.
Yep.
So that needs to go in. We need to make some plans on the roof line, which is going to be... I've got a little... There is a picture of a test piece that I've been working on for the last month, which Yolanda can put up.
Is it still going to end up looking like
somewhere
a Porsche Le Mans car?
Well, the front is still very well dipped down in the middle as much as can be. I mean, it doesn't slope down quite as much at the front, obviously, because, ankles. When Yolanda pops the picture up just behind me, I will put it up on the main screen.
You don't want it in Facebook?
Yeah, just put it up, it's fine. It was more you went through your chat at one point with all the pictures listed and all of your friends and stuff.
There we go.
So there is the test piece, which I know you can't see particularly well, but basically that is a 45-degree angle piece of inch tube coming up the side of the car, going into a flat roof piece that then streaks down the back. And at the moment I'm trying to decide whether or not it should be set further forward and almost go exactly in parallel and within about half an inch or so
Of the cage.
Yeah. Or if it should sit a little bit further back. Now I have opted to make one additional change to that. Same piece, but it's going to lean further back effectively, which actually means that those vertical pieces that are being held by the little red magnets are going to kick further forward. I did that accidentally today when I was playing around, and it looked really, really good. So having it coming forward all the way to the bottom edge, so you're not going to have this awkward little 3-step kick going up into that. It's just going to be one piece coming forward, which does mean I'm going to have to extend that piece of inch tube, which will be interesting. But yeah, it's going to go there, which brings the line down a little bit for what the back can do, because in the middle of that is a roof scoop which will pull down in, and that is, I'm still reasonably set on the roof scoop. However, I have also looked at having side pods coming off the top corner from here and going down into about midway along, and having
this is to get you some airflow into the engine space.
Well, no, it doesn't actually need that, because the intercoolers vent through into the engine space, and then there are 2 little 7-inch fans on the back drawing through constantly, so it will have airflow at all times through the engine bay from that. But the sheet metal is easier to do if I have it as a gentle curve going across over the top. but I'm just I'm unsure exactly how to jump. One way or another, it's both easier and more difficult to do different things. So if I do both, then obviously I have the air intake for the MAF on that side, and it goes in through the MAF into the turbo, goes around all the way through the system. Brilliant.
Yep.
If I have a roof scoop, it has to do a bit of a hard turn up and around.
Yeah.
Which isn't great, but it's also not terrible having a roof scoop because I can put a much easier big panel filter in, which is less obstructive necessarily.
True.
And I move the whole thing away into nice clear air. If I put a scoop on one side, well, I don't need one on the other side, so what does it do? Does it just go nowhere as a pocket? Does it... You know, I can funnel one side in and have it as an intake that comes through. That's all well and good. But then I'm just punching a hole in the other side to make sure that it doesn't fail. Or I have it open and then going through to pull the vortex out the top of the wheel well and just exhaust and have that scoop just literally flow straight through and out around the tail lights. But then you have uneven flow if you're taking a bunch of air out of one side
you're gonna
to scoop into the other one.
I mean, it's probably not a significant effect, but...
You're still disturbing the vortex at the back of the car if you're pulling more air
from one
through one side than the other side. So it'll create an imbalance, which is a little bit weird. I don't think it'll have much effect, but it will definitely be a difference. It's how pronounced that will be, as you say. So... Yeah, I'm still undecided on what to do, but no matter what I do, I have to build a roof structure for the top of the car, so I can at least put that panel in on the side at the top and attach it onto the firewall, and then finish the firewall next time we take the engine out with the whole plan in, with everything around it.
And seal it up to that roof line.
Yeah, because from there I can also make the boot line effectively across the top of that and how I want that to be. At the moment I'm very much thinking just a single piece aluminium clamshell that comes around over the top with some thin metal structure on the inside.
A little bit like the back of a Morgan? Very kind of flat backed.
Yes, kind of.
That's kind of what potentially with those side pods at the back and the flap between it. The Morgan is completely flat across the back, but you'd have a big flat panel there. Just falling away effectively towards the rear bumper. Yeah,
well, it would probably come up a little bit and roll around rather than just having a completely flat panel that would be very difficult to make stiff. Have a lighter weight frame because it'll need some framework to sort of seal.
So how are you bonding it to the inside edges of the two wheel pods?
Is it
just folding down into that?
So potentially it would have to be wrapped around and then riveted underneath.
Right.
Initially, to just do it in aluminium for one, but we're limited by the size of the aluminium pieces we can get, so that limits us to a 1 meter stretch in one direction. We get 1 meter by 2 meter pieces of aluminium, which is all well and good, but we're limited to 1 meter and then whatever we need, which will be fine across the back. So we might have to have a secondary piece that sits above at the back, making the very back of the deck, which is no bad thing.
Surely you want a ducktail on it.
Well, it's going to drop. Originally, I did put a ducktail on.
Yeah.
And it was a bit much.
Okay, what, you think the rest of the car is fine? It's understated. You're not going to look at it twice, really. It was a little bit. That's just too much.
It was a little bit too much. I mean, the rear arch was about another 2 inches too high, so I lowered that down as well. So it just sort of came up and over. And then by the time I had that on, and then a ducktail, I've got a couple of pictures I should probably put up on Instagram at some point of when I had the ducktail structure on. I cut it off and I just basically arced it over to what it is now, and then obviously rounded it again. So it is going to have a big wing on the back
as well.
So there is going to be big old wing that sort of hangs off the back effectively, like GT wing on the back for some rear end downforce, because we're going to need it.
You really are.
Yeah.
You really are.
yes, Aid. Oh, woo-woo. Ducktail. So yeah. But I think the middle is going to kind of dip down in the centre section. Yeah. So it's going to come across, and then whatever the centre panel is, it's going to basically drop in. But I need to put a drain channel in all the way to the back so that the roof structure can drain. We're not going to be able to get the panel seal good enough that rain's not going to get in. So I need to channel it away.
You've got a plan
somehow.
For it, yeah.
So I need to make some little U-section channels effectively to weld on the inside of whatever supports go down. which will probably be round tube, which is going to be fun, interesting, a little angle thing straight down a round tube. That's going to be a nightmare. And then finishing that so it's watertight and all the rest of it. And then the lid, the clamshell, I mean, it's not really a full clamshell, but it will be kind of three-sided, so I guess it kind of is. Whatever the boot lid is will sit into that position, and then we can hinge it, or for the size of it and the weight of it, we'll probably be able to just have it as a lift-off piece.
Yeah.
And then just have bonnet pins, have aero catchers, and you just go pop, 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 and the whole thing
no
lifts
leather
up.
buckles?
Ruin the lines, obviously. So, I mean, I've got a spare belt. I can just belt that over the top.
Yeah, sure.
So that's the
the
plan for
approach.
that. But it's going to be a three-sided affair, I think, to go down. Especially if this is going to sit a little bit further forward, it's going to need something to take it up to. I suspect the bonnet line. Oh, sorry, the bonnet line is going to be somewhere around that area, or maybe within about 6 inches further back of it. And yeah, it'll sit like that. I'm just screwing you over with those dice, aren't I?
Spent ages on that.
So yeah, the other option is also shortening that gap at the back and bringing it in a little bit.
Yeah,
to make
closer
the
to the roll
scoop
cage,
to make the scoop a little bit, because it already sits over the roll cage. The scoop I've modified again since there. You can't really see it, so it's about 1.5 inches high and about probably 16 inches wide. So it's a good body of air to get in through. You know, plenty of things have smaller intakes than that. And then it can come straight down over the back of there. So I can actually pull it a little bit further forward and make the slope a little bit further again. But by the same token, with it angling down further, I can do that in Bodywork really, and just have that kind of sloping down into there. So this is the main part that I've ignored as best as I can, because I just didn't want to deal with it.
It's the most complex geometry you've got to deal with, right? Or how are you boxing in the rest of the door frames?
Well, there's no doors.
Well, yeah, I know.
So it's just kind of open.
You're going to put a roof on it, though, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. So it's going to have a roof on it. On the one hand, I'd like the roof to be removable, but that's a bit of a pipe dream. So we'll see how that goes.
I mean, I suppose you could
canvas top roof like the old
bonnet
Exige did.
pins.
But again, yeah, I could just aero catcher, have it so that it clips in, and then just have aero catchers that clip down.
Yeah.
It could potentially stow, if I was lucky, above the exhaust in the back. But
good luck. I mean, that's if that comes off, then that's just pure chance.
Yeah.
So
pretty much, it's a tricky one. So yeah, we'll be kind of
target top would be nice though.
Yeah, originally the idea was, I mean, it's going to be close to a target top because it's going to scoop in anyway, otherwise you can't get into it.
Yes.
Like you just crack a head or have to snap your neck to be able to climb in. So it's going to neck down in the back a little bit no matter what.
Yeah.
And have a bit of an edge going around. But that needs to be finished. We need to do the A-pillars and go down there, so we need to build all that structure. I still need to decide how it's going to blend in at the side of the windscreen into the dashboard, and what that whole join into the rest of the side of the body, kind of left to the side of the steering wheel, is going to be.
It's those kind of corner points where you've got multiple surfaces coming together are the hardest for you to deal with.
There is a little part of me that's contemplating getting some windows off a people mover. Something like the new Galaxy, which have these very narrow angle windows in front of the doors, and fitting those in down the side of the windscreen, just
tiny
to get
panes of glass.
Yeah. So it'll be, if you imagine that's the windscreen, it'll basically go along and then up like that.
Yeah.
And I just deal with whatever this length is, because the Galaxy windscreen's really long. Whatever this length is here, fit it up and build around that, and then build around whatever this length is here, to just get something to stop the wind whipping straight around the windscreen and then hitting you in the face. You want it to be like pushed to the side somewhat, so it's going to need something just to deflect the wind out a little bit more. Otherwise it's going to be horrendous to drive.
Where are the wing mirrors?
So the wing mirrors are further back. They're in line. If you've got the steering wheel here, the wing mirrors are here.
So they're actually behind this vertex point that you're talking about.
By probably 1.5 foot. give or take.
Framed off of the side of the car.
They're kind of moulded in at the moment onto the pod, so they need to be pushed a little bit further out. I think we're going to have to move them another inch and a half.
Is there an MOT requirement on their location?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, it's not so much on the wing mirrors location; it's on things that you can see. The problem is you have to be able to see a point directly behind the car, 60 meters behind the car, which
60 meters.
60 meters, which is almost impossible to measure on any like normal plot of land. I mean, our house and the land around the house that we rent is pretty big.
Yeah.
But it still ain't that big. Like it's only 20 meters across. So we can test and like, okay, what can we see? But they are mounted quite far inboard where the arches are, so I think they're going to need to squeeze out about. We've worked out with angles and measuring the degrees, it should do it in 40 meters. But I also don't want to mould the wing mirrors into the body lines and then have to move them.
Yes.
I would rather completely change it and move them out an inch and a half and mould them in with a little bit bigger ears, effectively, or move them further forward and do similar and have them just on the TT pods, because the TT has it has little pods that stick up and then the wing mirrors sit on those. Yeah. Which would still allow them to pivot as well. So I would rather have that than have to completely redo things. Yeah. So I've been set on having them moulded into the bodywork and because it'll look really nice. It'll be tucked in and you won't see them very much. But Chris has made a very salient point of maybe it'll look weird without wing mirrors. And he's not wrong.
Just put a rear camera on it.
Yeah, well, it has to be able to be seen at all times. You have to be able to see these points so you'd have to have screens with those cameras on immediately. Which then means putting screens in the day, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, and then waterproofing the screens, blah, 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 blah. I'm okay with having one right in the centre, like an Android PC in the centre, like an Android head unit, because it will be mostly undercover. Yeah. But right out on the edge, no, not a fan. Okay. So no
iPad on the dash then?
Well, maybe. We could, feasibly. There's nothing wrong with it if we get something that would work, but I think I'd rather have just a DAB radio in there with Bluetooth connectivity and just buy an all-in-one unit. This is why we learned trig in high school. It is, in fact, why we learned trig. That and Pythagoras was so that I could get really, really good with my estimates for mortars when I was playing 40k. I was really good at that because I knew how big the board was and I could do maths in my head, and people were not happy. They were very sure that I'd measured things. And when you weren't allowed to measure, you had to estimate the range. And yeah, I had ahead of time. I knew the board was 4 foot by 4 foot. What more do I need to know? Doesn't matter after that. Yeah. Even if it's 6 by 6, it's about, I can make a pretty good estimate. It's probably going to scatter anyway. At least if I can get in the ballpark, I might get somewhere with it. But yes, that is exactly it. So yeah, those Ford parts might be coming to a kit car. Well, near me, I guess, not near you.
So what's the latest count of the manufacturers?
11.
11.
Well, no, I think it's 11 different cars.
Oh.
So front to back, it is Alpha 159 headlights, Audi A3 for the bumper. For the bumper bar. Yep. Porsche 944 radiator, so you're going to have to keep count of these because I lose count eventually. Okay. 944 turbo radiator. Steering rack is from a TT. Yep. The front hubs are the dropped hubs from the R32, so it's Golf R32. Caterham R500 suspension, which is really just kind of Ibach and Bilstein bits, but even so, it's it's sold as a kit part. Tank is bespoke. Arms, well, the arms are from an A3, but we've already counted the lower arms are from the A3, so we've counted that one already with the bumper.
6 so far.
The column is from the A3, not the TT. Windscreen is from a Smart Car 451. Wipers are from a Smart Car 450 because we're idiots. Coolant pipes down the centre from an MGF. Yep,
that's 9.
Handbrake is bespoke. Seats are bespoke, so that's nothing. Firewall didn't come out of the Bishy in the end. Engine is from the TT. Intercoolers are from an Audi A6.
Right.
Wheels are from a Porsche 930.
That's 11. And
Because even if you say it's a 911 versus the 944, still different.
Still different cars.
Okay, no, so it's even more than that. It's way
11.
more than that now. Because the intercooler is from a Land Rover Freelander.
Excellent.
The exhaust is from a GT86.
Yes.
And the rear lights are from an Alfa Mito.
That's 14. now.
14 different cars, and as I
Yes.
was saying, I would still like to get one of every car parked around it at some point, like a runway or something, and it's getting harder and harder to do that.
Yeah.
You have to get a lot of cars, or find a lot of people with a lot of cars. Yeah, call in a bunch of favours. I wonder if Jamie at Ballincolville can get some Part X in. Damn it. Well, he did Alpha. He does Subaru. He can get me a GT86.
Yeah, you can.
I mean, it's a Toyota.
He scraped the Toyota badges off. It says Subaru.
I mean, it's literally embossed Subaru on the bottom of the exhaust. It
Yes.
says Subaru.
Yes.
It's a Subaru.
Yes.
Oh, Subaru Forester top
Yes.
mounts. Subaru Forester top mount, holding the rear shocks on.
That's 15 then.
Yeah, because we just went, oh, well, let's not make something. Let's just use these. Done. So they just worked.
Yep.
And yeah, the trailing arms are TT, rear brakes are TT.
Yeah. We need to try and get some Lotus bits in there.
Yeah, I don't know what we could put in. I really don't.
The only bits of Lotus I've still got left are broken. I've got a few bits that came off it because Ken in the workshop would always.
Oh, airbox.
No, that went.
Airbox went with it. I was going to say, because you could put a Lotus airbox and a high flow K&N filter on.
No good.
Something.
No good.
But I even sold, I was going to test the airbox from the A3 or the TT.
Yeah.
Yep, sold both of them.
Yeah. Oh,
So
well.
they've all gone. So that's completely unhelpful for testing out. So we'd have to make our own panel filter housing for it at that point, which is just another massive pain. So, yeah. No, apparently I'm too far away from my laptop to sign in automatically. But yeah, that's what we need to do. Is build the rear clamshell, and if I can't do that in time, the next piece of bodywork that's going on is potentially going to be some stuff at the front of the car and start closing in the front arches at the back. I might this time build the inner arches before the outer arches, because I'm also building I've started building the outer arches. So the next kit car episode after the one on Sunday, so all being well, it will be kit car, Thunderbird, kit car. It will be building the inner arches for the rear wheels, which I've started doing and fixing some pieces into that. And it is really hard work when you've already built part of the inner arch. It really is. There's I don't think it's going to be as bad, because the inner ones at the front are going to be partially flexy. I'm actually going to use Corex, like construction protective material.
Right.
Which it's basically just like
It's a particulate board, isn't it?
Not quite. It's plastic,
Right.
but it's got an air gap in the middle, so it's two skins with a sort of ribbed construction through it. It's like corrugated cardboard, effectively,
But in plastic.
So for some of the curves and things in there, I'm going to use that, because I can drill it, I can pin it, I can shape it. If nothing else, I can use it to make a net, because it's a really big, complicated shape in the front, because the wheels have to turn. You know, the back one is mostly, there's lots of structure around it. I can make lots of small panels, and it's just a one-axis curve. Whereas the fronts really need this mess of a structure building, so I'm going to have to make it out of something a bit flexible first, if nothing else. So some parts are going to be aluminium, and then other parts are going to be Corex and sort of fixed in onto brackets. So I should probably go and buy a sheet of Corex now I think about it, but that's definitely one. So I'm probably going to try and make those before I make the other bits, because I'm going to have to weld in some brackets to allow them to attach, which I didn't do. I didn't think about. Actually, no, I lie. I absolutely thought about it and went, oh no, that's a future problem.
Yeah. You can't. You're doing all this the first time round. You learn so much the first time you do it. Yeah.
So much.
You're not going to get everything right.
I've learned mostly that I'm not an automotive engineer, and that the things that I don't know about automotive engineering could still fill a reservoir. They're written on tiny pieces of paper. Very small font. Yeah. So that's the overall plan for that, really. I need to get that sort of in a bit more. But as I said, I just need to start putting bodywork on and adding more bits. So I've committed I'm going to put at least one piece, well, matching left and right, on every single episode of the car as it goes along. And just keep making progress on it, because we need, once we've got some of the front end done, we can start looking at the nose and the splitter and all the front end structure and everything in that whole wheelhouse, and make that work.
Do you think there's going to be kind of a sudden moment where boom, it just suddenly like all comes together as a car? Or is it?
Yeah, I think that's going to happen when we get more of the front bodywork on. Like sort of sweeping forward, it's going to suddenly look like more. Look at the moment, it looks like a wireframe, and if you look at the back of the car, it looks a lot like a car because it has enough of a rear quarter on to look like a car. It's got, I mean, it's all the way up to where the intercoolers are now on the side panel, and it's got in front of that the intercoolers, that scoop is all in on the bottom. So those two parts are in, so it actually has some shape, and you can see some of the curves to it. But yeah, like that's a really big improvement. But to be fair, having added this side panel on, which is coming in the next episode, managing to get that join between those two panels quite so well was a massive relief. This side isn't as good as the other side. I did this side first and then did the other side. The other side is a little bit better. Yeah. This side has a little bit of a kick out just in one spot, but it's nothing that isn't repairable later on with probably a bit of Bondo. Yeah, they'll be close enough that they'll look the same. And fortunately, you can't see them both at the same time in the same profile, so I'll be able to just
don't drive past any mirrors.
Yeah, Bondo out the problem. It'll be fine. So yeah, it is looking reasonably good. So, if you have sat with us through our deep dive into the old Emira, the new Emira, let's face it, the new Emira Configurator, let's call it,
which we broke.
Which TIL, you can break it. Somebody should send the video of this to Lotus and be like, your thing's broken. I want a bug bounty. Do you know my bug bounty? It's about £85,000.
I think it's probably the problem at our end / my laptop rather than anything else.
That's a shame. Yeah. Oh well. You mean to say that I won't be getting a free Emira?
I don't think you will. Not even if you ask for a panel match.
That's really disappointing. Yeah, well, honestly, I'm crushed. Yeah. But if you have tuned in all the way from the very start to the very end, we did just put a yellow Lotus badge in the middle of the steering wheel. Yeah, I mean, it's not wrong. We could just slap a Lotus badge on the steering wheel and be done. Or get some Lotus parts, or use a Lotus steering wheel. Find a wrecked, or somebody will have wrecked. Well, to be fair, number 27, his wrecked up one, that was terrible. I'll have to show you that.
No, I've got a better solution.
Yeah.
All you do is you say yes, this had Lotus parts. But then we added lightness.
Yeah, we added lightness and we took them away. Yeah. Yes, that works.
This is the Lotus part here, and just gesture at some air.
Yes, yeah. This hole where we had something, we took it away.
Just drill holes in it.
Yeah.
Just drill holes in everything.
Every hole is Lotus.
Yeah.
I like it. Yep, I'll go with that. So, if you haven't already, which I can't see why you wouldn't have, you might be watching this later and have not subscribed to the channel yet, do subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to buy some merch, of which I am not wearing because I have John's t-shirt on, Mad Scientist, and I have a Decimal Tenths mug because we might have broken all of the PedalBox ones in the garage. You can get those at shop.pedalbox.show. You can become a Patreon at patreon.com/pedalboxshow. You can do that from $1 a month. It turns out if you want access to our Discord, you need to be on the $5 a month or greater, and we promise to spell your name right. Sorry, Dan Warden, who I spelled as Wardon rather than Warden for 2 episodes, as he rightfully pointed out. The higher tiers do come with the correct spelling of names, and he is on one of those higher tiers. Maybe if you only spend $1 a month sub, we'll just
can't afford spell check.
Yeah, we'll just throw a mug at the keyboard and just see what
That's what you get.
Yeah, that's why we keep breaking them, because we've broken 2 mugs. There are 2 $1. We just threw the mug and they got lucky. That's just how it came out.
Sure.
So yes, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope you've enjoyed it. We perhaps do another one of these random miscellaneous chats in the future under a different name than PedalBox Live. Maybe, I don't know. We've talked about having people on the show and like calling in, so that would be a nice one to try and add. So perhaps we should have some sort of miscellaneous chat under
more audience interaction.
under a different name, and
Sure.
get more people in the chat, more.
Everything that breaks is MG.
Yeah, early on, everything that breaks. Yeah, true enough. So right.
All
Thank you very much. As our viewers rapidly drop from 7 to 4, we will sign off. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. See you next time.